Welcome, dear listener, to this comforting evening gathering. I am glad you are here. The night settles around us like a soft blanket. Light falls low. Sounds slow down. A quiet space opens inside the chest. I invite calm. Find a place to lie down or sit with support. Pull a blanket up to the shoulders if that feels good. Turn the face toward a dim lamp or the moonlight. Close heavy lids when ready. Let breath lengthen. Inhale slowly. Hold for a moment. Exhale and feel weight sink into the mattress. Allow the shoulders to drop. Let the jaw soften. Nothing needs fixing right now. Rest is a kind mercy. Tonight, I read for the broken-hearted. I speak for those who ache with loss, for those who carry a hollow place where hope once lived. I read words of tenderness. The aim is simple. I offer rest. I offer assurance of a gentle love that holds wounds with care. This is not a lecture. It is not a search for answers. It is an invitation to be known and to be healed. Slowly, I begin by painting a quiet scene. Imagine a small lamp on a bedside table, papers stacked, a cup of tea cool, a pair of shoes stays by the door. Someone once walked in and left pieces of a story behind. The house keeps echoes. The heart keeps echoes too. Those echoes are sacred. They bear traces of love. Not only of pain. Let that truth rest beside the ache. Both can exist. I read from the Bible not as a scholar, but as a companion. I let the pages breathe. I let phrases land like soft rain. I will paraphrase passages so the words rest easy in the ear. No need to follow the printed lines. The voice here is slow and plain. Each sentence is a small hand reaching out. A passage waits like a gentle shore. It tells of a heart that bends under grief and finds a presence close. The promise is clear, a closeness that does not judge but shelters. When sorrow feels sharp and private, acompasionate nearness enters. I let that nearness be a fact. It is not distant theory. It is a steady warmth at the edge of the pain. Feel it like a palm laid softly on the brow. I speak next of an invitation stretched across centuries. There comes an offer to lay burdens down. This offer is not a chore. It is a doorway. The weariness hands over its load to a caring presence. Imagine stepping from a heavy fog into a room warmed by sunlight. The chest loosens. Breathing takes on space. The invitation is simply to come and rest. No prior merit required. Just the willingness to let down the hold on the hurt. Mercy appears in small ways. Often, it is a neighbor who listens. Sometimes it is a late-night song that carries a phrase into the heart. Other times it is a memory that shifts shape and becomes less sharp. Mercy cannot be forced. It arrives, as patience does quietly, and on its own timetable. I encourage patience tonight. Healing move in hushes. Allow time. Trust. Small advances. I will pause between readings. Each pause will be long enough to breathe and to let a thought settle. Use that pause. Feel the ground beneath the body. If the mind wanders to what was lost, let the image come without pursuit. Observe it like a bird passing. Do not chase. Do not push away. In the watching, the weight softens. I also offer an image of hands. Two hands appear in the mind. One is rough from a life of work. The other is gentle and steady. They cup a small, wounded thing. No effort is wasted. The gentleness holds and the roughness steadies. Healing can look like this. It blends tenderness with steadfastness. It keeps company with pain rather than erasing it. Tonight, there will be readings of hope. Hope is not a loud trumpet. It is a quiet light on a dark path. It shows one step at a time. It does not promise instant mending. It promises presence when despair sits heavily. It whispers that a different morning can come. Notice the whisper. Let it be the anchor for a single breath. I offer a short reflection now. If grief feels like an ocean, think of a shoreline. Waves come and go. Each one carries a shell. A small treasure. Gather nothing. Watch the pattern. Appreciate the rhythm. The tide reshapes the sand, but does not erase the shore. Similarly, sorrow changes shape in the heart. It does not cancel the whole. Pieces of joy can still be found along the path. As I read, I will name feelings plainly. Sadness, anger, numbness, loneliness. Each has its own light. Each deserves space. Do not hurry them away. Let them speak their truth without long speeches. When a feeling speaks, it often wants only to be heard. Listening itself calms the nerves. Let listening be the balm this evening. I encourage a small practice with me. Place a hand over the chest if it feels safe. Feel the rise and fall with each breath. Say in the mind a short phrase like this: You are not alone. Repeat it slowly. Each repetition becomes a gentle rope that steadies the heart. No declarations are required, only a quiet repetition. Let the phrase become a lullaby. Imagine now a candle flame. It flickers, but does not go out. The room knows darkness. But the candle persists. Light persists. 2. In ways that are soft and patient, allow that image to rest. The flame does not compete with the night. It simply shows a part of the room. Think of healing the same way. It does not rush to eliminate every shadow. It simply brings enough light to walk gently. I will read short biblical passages that touch on comfort. I paraphrase them so they sound like plain speech. One passage reminds us that wounds are seen and named. Another reminds us that a steady love waits to bind those wounds. These words do not promise a simple fix. They promise an attentive heart working toward wholeness. Let that promise be sufficient for one night. As the voice continues, allow eyelids to grow heavier. Let the body sink. If tears come, let them, tears cleanse and release. They are not a sign of failure. They are the body's way of making room. If sleep arrives, welcome it. Sleep is itself a healing companion. If wakefulness remains, stay soft. Keep breathing with the rhythm we began. I am the one reading these thoughts slowly for you. I will not hurry. Each sentence pauses between beats. My tone is steady. My aim is to carry voice like a slow, kind current. You may drift in and out. That is welcome. My reading is a harbor for such drifting. In the next part, I will read a selection of passages and short prayers. Those prayers are simple and sparse. They speak of shelter, of steady hands, of a light to follow. They avoid long explanations. They invite rest. For now, let the room be still. Let the heart be witnessed by a presence that cares without rushing change. I close this opening with a brief blessing. May the night find soft places in the mind. May mercy gently touch the places that feel raw. May a quiet hope take root like a small, shy plant under the window. Keep breathing. Keep the hand on the chest if that helps. The next reading begins when you are ready. I will wait a few moments. Then turn the page and let the first passage wash over us like calm water. I turn the page slowly. The paper breathes. A small sound fills the room. The lamp hums. The voice leans in and reads a passage meant for weariness. It speaks of an open hand and an easy yoke. It invites the tired to come and rest. The tone is plain. The idea is simple. Rest is offered, not earned. The reader's voice moves like a slow stream. Pause. Let that offer land in the chest. Let the thought become a soft place for one breath. No need to solve the whole tangle tonight. Rest can begin with a single letting go. If the body holds tight, imagine setting a small stone down. Feel the arms relax a fraction. Breathe in and release. A short prayer follows. Brief and spare, it names weariness and asks for gentle relief. It asks that hands reach out that steady and do not judge. The words are not long. They are like a door opened a little. Listen to them in the quiet. Next, I read a passage about closeness to broken hearts. It says that a presence bends toward the quiet damage inside. It does not hurry the repair. It moves close. Like someone lowering a chair and sitting beside the hurt, the voice keeps 3 beats between lines. Each beat lets the image rest. Visualize a small room with soft curtains. A kettle cools on the stove. A chair faces the window. That chair is meant for you. No task sits on the seat. No requirement fills the air. A steady presence simply sits and watches the rain with you. The presence knows each scar by shape. It names no failure. It only keeps company. Pause again. Give time for the picture to settle. The breath lengthens on its own. If the mind carries an old complaint, let it sit on the windowsill like a small bird. Observe without opening the cage. This is a skill of tenderness. Practice it slowly. I offer a short, simple prière now. It asks for the courage to be honest with pain. It asks that tender care find the raw edges. The language is soft. The cadence is slow. These prayers aim to make room rather than to fix everything. Turning the page, I read a passage that speaks of a guide through dark places. It does not banish the night. It gives a steady light to walk by. Word by word, the light is patient. It reveals one small step at a time. The reading avoids rush. It keeps to plain speech. Picture a narrow path under tall trees. The ground is steady beneath foot. Roots hold the soil. A lantern swings at your side. Its glow is not wide, but it shows the next footfall. Walk with that single illuminated step. Trust the ground underfoot. The path need not be clear to the horizon. It asks only for one kind. Careful step. A very small exercise follows. Place a hand lightly over the lower ribs. Feel the rise and fall. Count slowly to 3 on the inhale and to 4 on the exhale. Imagine each exhale loosening a knot inside. Do this for a few breaths. No aim for perfect breathing, just slow and kind breaths. I read then a passage about mercy arriving like unexpected aid. It speaks of help that comes when the body and the heart are thin. The help sometimes looks like a neighbor bringing bread. Sometimes it looks like a memory that no longer stings. Mercy arrives in small, patient gifts. The reading lingers on the word tender and lets it echo. Think of a small basket. Into this basket comes a slice of warmth, a note left on a table, a hand rested briefly on a shoulder. Each thing is simple. Each thing matters. Notice one small mercy from today or yesterday. Let it be the seed of a gentler story about the self. Another brief prayer follows. It asks for mercy that does not embarrass or hurry. It asks for a companion who will stay through the awkward hours. The prayer uses short sentences. It moves like soft rain. I continue with a passage that speaks of renewal when strength wanes. It suggests a kind of waiting that is not passive. Waiting can be steady and quiet, like a tree holding its leaves through a long winter. The promise here is not instant vigor. It is gradual rising. The reader keeps voice low and steady. Imagine a small garden in late winter. Buds sleep beneath a thin crust of cold. The sun comes slowly, not as a burst, but as a patient visitor. One morning, a small green edge peeks through. The change is slow. It is enough. Let the image stand without hurry. Pause. Allow the mind to rest on that slow growth. The chest softens. The muscles unclench by degrees. Small hope finds space. It does not shout. It simply completes a circle of attention. I offer another short prayer. It asks that the fragile newness be protected. It asks that mornings come with small rhythms. The prayer is concise. It leaves room for listening. Now I read a passage that reminds of carrying when strength fails. It paints a scene of tender lifting and careful steps. The imagery is of arms that do not let go. The words are slow and clear. They speak to the need to be supported without shame. Picture an old friend who lifts boxes without complaint. The action is practical, not dramatic. The friend sets things down in safer places. Help sometimes looks like an ordinary set of hands. Accepting that help can be an act of courage, not weakness. A short practice follows. Imagine passing a burden reel, or imagined across a small table, to someone who cares. You do not need to explain all the weight. Place it gently and breathe. Let the other handle some of the load for a while. I read now a gentle invitation to rest in love that watches over wound. It names care that stitches slowly. It avoids grand promises of instant recovery. Instead, it offers a steady repair. Stitch by stitch, the cadence of the reading helps the mind slow. Think of a seam being mended by hand. Each stitch is small, The mender takes time. The thread pulls tight and holds. The process is patient. The repair is not invisible. It is careful work done with attention. As the reading slows, a brief prayer asks for hands that bind and for hearts that receive binding. The words are few. The tone is calm. The final reading in this section is a short one, about hope that endures in small ways. It calls hope a companion who sits quietly and points to the next thing to do, a cup to sip, a cloth to fold, a letter to fold away. Hope here is practical rather than grand. It sets one small, reachable aim before sleep. Picture a single task finished with care. One clean plate, one tidy book. The small completion brings a subtle steadiness. Let that steadiness cover a few breaths. Let calm deepen. I close this part with a quiet blessing. May rest come without pressure. May mercy meet the small broken places. May a patient hope guide the next breath. Keep the hand where it feels safe. Stay still and listen. A long pause follows this blessing. Use it. If sleep arrives, allow it to take over. If wakefulness remains, remain gentle. In the next part, I will read more passages and offer simple prayers. I will not hurry. The voice will stay soft. When you are ready, I will turn the page and continue. I finish the last sentence softly and let the thought settle. Let this reminder comfort your spirit. The phrase rests like a hand at the back of the neck. It is simple. It is true in a small, steady way. I keep my voice low. I do not hurry the space. I open the scene of healing slowly. Imagine a small room again. The light sits low. The air is cool but gentle. A simple chair faces a window. A blanket lies folded on the arm. There is no rush in the room. Time moves like a lacy clog. The aim of this part is a gentle arrangement of care. It prepares the mind to receive comfort. I speak of Psalm 34:18, not as a lecture. I say it by meaning. The passage says that the Lord draws near to broken hearts. It says the one who feels crushed finds a closeness that shelters. Hear that closeness like a lantern placed beside the bed. It does not sweep away the dark. It gives enough light to see the next breath. Try an image with me. Picture a person sitting at the edge of a bed. Shoulders are tight. The room smells faintly of tea. Someone else enters without noise. They do not ask many questions. They do not offer quick fixes. They sit quietly. Fold hands and lean in. Presence happens before words. That is the kind of nearness the psalm names. It is patient. It is unintrusive. It rests like a palm against a cheek. This healing scene includes community. Healing rarely arrives alone. It often comes with others who carry light in their own small lamps. Think of neighbors who leave simple food. Think of a friend who sends a single short message. Think of church members who fold bread into a bag. These acts are plain. They matter. They are the quiet scaffolding that holds a heart until the body finds its own rhythm again. I invite a short practice now. Sit or lie with support. Place a hand flat against the sternum, if that feels safe. Keep the other hand loose at the side. Breathe slowly. Count to 3 on the inhale. Exhale to 4. Do this for 5 gentle cycles. Picture breath bringing a coolness and letting a small heat go. Each breath is an unhurried step toward calm. No pressure for dramatic change, only a soft adjustment. As I read, consider the shape of wounds. Some are like open places that sting. Others are like hollowed spaces that echo. Both are real. Both deserve company. A broken heart does not need a long speech. It needs a presence that does not flinch. When words come, they can be small a name. A simple recognition. Silence is a form of care. 2. Silence held without judgment often heals more than words. I speak now of mercy. Mercy is not always dramatic. It can be a neighbor's quiet willingness to sit on the porch. It can be a hand that steadies a cup. Mercy looks for the ordinary. It arrives in rhythms. It shows up at odd hours and stays. Imagine mercy as a thread sewn through a ragged lining. The thread is slow. It goes stitch by stitch. Over days, the lining holds better. Allow another small exercise. Remember one small mercy you received recently. It can be a voice recording, a text, a dish warmed and left at the door. Name it in the mind without analyzing. Let the memory be a small stone on a path. Feel the weight of it. Then let it sit. No need to carry it outward. Keep it near, like a warm pebble in the pocket. I read a few lines from the psalm in my own words. It says what has been said when the heart breaks. Our close care arrives. Sorrow is not hidden from the one who watches over the soul. There is an intent to repair, not to shame. Listening without condemnation is the first form of mending. Imagine someone turning down the volume of judgment and turning up the warmth in the room. That is what this nearness does. This part also names limits. Healing does not erase memory. It does not make loss disappear. It reshapes the wound so living can continue with it. Think of a riverbed where stones and roots remain. The current smooths edges. The water still flows. The past is not erased, but it becomes part of the ground on which new steps are taken. Picture a lamp that warms a small corner. It does not illuminate the whole house. It is enough for the next movement. Think in the same way about hope. Hope does not have to brighten the entire future. It needs only to show the next small thing to do. A glass of water, a letter closed and set aside, a short walk down the hall. These small acts are the stitches of daily life. I invite a brief, humble prayer now. The language is spare. Ask that the nearness of care be felt. Ask for hands that steady without words. Ask that the night hold a quiet patience. Say these things silently. There is no need for long phrases. Keep the tones low. Let the prayer be a short, steady rock in the chest. Community returns to the scene in a particular way. Sometimes healing is a circle around a bed. Sometimes it is a distant voice on the phone. Sometimes it is a routine of check-ins across a week. The important part is regularity. Small, steady gestures build a net. They catch a heart on hard days. Imagine a net woven by many small threads. Alone, one thread is thin. Together the threads hold. Practice accepting help for a moment. In the mind, picture lifting a small object and placing it on a neighbor's lap. The object holds a part of the burden. The neighbor receives it without fuss and sets it down on a safe shelf. Accepting help is not a failure. It is an exchange. Like trading a heavy load for a lighter one. The act is practical and simple. I also remind you that solitude and community can both be part of healing. There are times to sit quietly and simply name the hurt. There are times to reach out and hold hands. The two can alternate. Think of a day with pockets of both. Each pocket matters. Now I read a short paraphrase again. Gentle and plain. The Psalm's heart promises proximity to the crushed. It speaks of rescue that comes with tenderness. The image is of a slow, sure hand gathering what is falling apart and placing it on a table to be tended. That tending takes time. It does not hurry or force. It begins with careful observation. As the voice continues, let eyes grow heavier. If tears come, let them flow. Tears are water that clears the air. They make room. If sleep arrives, that is good. 2. Sleep is part of the mending process. When rest takes over, the body and spirit work in ways words cannot describe. I will offer one last small practice before closing this part. Rest the head back for a moment. Imagine the body as a house. Parts of the house need repair. Some fixes are loud and messy. Others are quiet and slow. Tonight, allow only the quiet work. Let small repairs happen in the corners while the rest of the house breathes. Breathe with that image for a few gentle cycles. I close this section with a blessing. May the nearness you need arrive without fanfare. May hands find you that steady and do not rush. May mercy wrap around the tender places like a soft cloth. Keep the breathing slow. Keep the body supported. When you are ready, we will move to the next set of readings. There, I will guide a few short prayers and a reading that gently revisits the promise of nearness in a way that can be heard in sleep. I will turn the page when you are ready. I settle into the quiet and speak gently about a truth that does not surprise. Pain and sorrow belong to the road. They arrive without asking. They sit down at the table and refuse to leave by polite request. I read a passage slowly, and I do not read it as hard proof. I read it as a promise that tends and repairs. The psalm speaks of a gentle presence that draws near to those whose hearts are broken. It speaks of a hand that binds wounds. I say that in plain words, so the ear can take it in. Soft and clear, I ask that the hurt be named for a moment. Name need not be dramatic. Say one short word in the mind ache. Empty. Loss. Heavy. Let the single word land. Watch how it feels in the chest. No pressure to fix anything. Naming is a small, steady act. It turns a shape that lurks in the dark into something visible on the table. Visibility allows care. Tears are part of the movement. They are not a failure. They are brine that rinses the inside. If tears come, let them fall. If they do not force them. Both are honest responses. I sit with this and keep my voice low. The room holds those drops without surprise. In the listening, a gentle allowance forms. This is safe work. Sometimes the wound shouts. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes the body goes numb. Each of those is a language. Each needs someone who cares enough to translate without judgment. I speak as that companion. The role is not to solve. The role is to be present and to offer small, practical comfort. Presence itself is a kind of medicine. Place a palm where the breath rises, if that feels right. Place the other hand on the thigh or by the side. Breathe in slowly for 3 counts. Hold 1 beat. Release for 4 counts. Repeat this cycle 5 times. With each exhale, imagine a thread loosening. Imagine that each loosened thread is a small mercy arriving. The breaths are gentle, not rushed. The rhythm itself begins the work of tending. I tell a small image now. Picture a narrow table. A lamp with a soft shade sits at one end. On the table rests an object that matters to the heart. It could be a photograph, a ring, a letter, a worn sweater. The object carries the story. A careful hand picks it up, feels its edges, and sets it down on a clean cloth. The act is plain. The hand does not erase the history. It makes a place for it, where it will not tear anew. Healing often looks like this, careful. Repetitive acts that do not pretend the past was different. Mercy sometimes arrives in ordinary gestures. A neighbor brings a small loaf. A friend leaves a voice message that says nothing long, only that they are there. A stranger pauses in a store and offers a few words of kindness. These things seem small to the mind that wants change in an instant. To the weary heart, they are scaffolding. They hold until strength grows again. I remind the listener to notice one such small kindness. Let that notice be a tiny anchor. There is a difference between erasing a scar and binding it. The Psalm's promise is not that the memory will vanish. The promise is that wounds will be tended. Imagine a seamstress at a window. The cloth is frayed at the edge. The seamstress takes a thread and sews deliberately, stitch by stitch. The mending does not smooth out every fold. It secures what might otherwise unravel. In time, the cloth holds its shape again. The scar remains as testimony. But it no longer threatens the whole garment. I offer a short, spare prayer now. The prayer is more a breath than a speech. It asks that what aches find a steady hand. It asks that tenderness come without hurry. The words are few and held in silence. No flourish. No demand. The listener may keep the prayer private or hold it as part of the slow night. Anger can arrive as part of grief. It is honest, sometimes sharp. Let it exist without shame. Let it be a brief visitor to the mind. Watch where it sits in the body. Maybe the shoulders tighten or the jaw presses. Breathe toward those places. Send the slow breath to the tightness. Imagine the breath as a small, cool breeze working along a cord. The cord loosens a fraction. That is enough for now. Numbness also deserves gentle attention. Numbness can come when the heart protects itself after too much hurt. Do not rush the thaw. Thawing is a fragile process. It begins with small sensations. First, a tremor of feeling. Then a return of color to the edges. When a flicker appears, Honor it by noticing rather than analyzing. Notice the smallest shift and let it rest. If thoughts crowd the mind with questions, make a small ritual. Keep a notebook on the bedside table. Give each anxious thought a line. Write it down in one short sentence. Close the cover. The book becomes a place to set down the restlessness. The act of transferring thought into ink often loosens its hold. It is an offering the mind places what it cannot carry into a box for safe keeping. Community matters here in quiet ways. A web of small acts holds the fragile. Regular contact matters more than grand gestures. A weekly call. A text left at a predictable hour. A neighbor who drops by without expectation. These form a pattern. Picture a net woven of thin threads. Each thread is a small, repeated kindness. Together they make a place to land. Accepting help is not a sign of weakness. It is a practical choice. Imagine passing a simple burden across a table to someone who cares. You do not need to explain every weight. Set the object down. Breathe. And feel the relief of sharing. The other hand receives it without drama. That exchange is healing in itself. I offer another brief practice. Think of one small, concrete task that can be done tomorrow. It could be making tea, folding a clean towel, stepping outside for 5 minutes. Choose the smallest thing that feels possible. Picture completing it with care. The act of finishing something gentle builds a quiet strength. Some nights the best choice is silence. Silence keeps shame from speaking and lets the soft repairs happen. Sometimes the body repairs while the mind rests. Sleep itself is a kind companion. When sleep comes, do not resist. When it does not, remain still. Keep the breath slow and kind. Keep the hand resting where it feels, grounding. I remind myself aloud, and therefore the listener, that faith shuns no honest emotion. Yielding sorrow to a caring presence does not make faith shallow. It places the pain in a trustworthy palm. The presence in the psalm draws near to mend, not to minimize. That nearness gives permission to feel without hurry. As the night deepens, I fold a short encouragement into the room. Small advances matter. The day that sees one small relief is a day of mercy. Celebrate in silence. Allow gratitude to be quiet. A single grateful thought can be a soft light on a dark path. I will read again in the next part. The readings will hold the promise of repairing hands and patient mending. I will speak plain, slow phrases that the ear can rest on. For now, stay with the breathing. Keep the hand where it brings comfort. Let the heart name what it needs. Let the room be unhurried. I close this section with a blessing, said in a low voice. May what hurts find a steady touch. May small mercies arrive in ordinary ways. May the night hold space for gentle repair. Keep breathing slowly. Keep the body supported. When the moment is right, I will turn the page and continue in the same calm manner, reading words that rest and praying with quiet hands. I breathe in and slow my voice. I tell you that tonight I read a passage meant for tired feet and weary shoulders. I do not recite words like a lecture. I fold them into the room so they land softly. The passage offers an open invitation. It calls to those who are worn out and weighted down. It asks only that you come to rest, come and let the hold loosen. I paraphrase gently. The one who knows the shape of our days speaks to those who carry burdens. The offer is plain. There is an ease to it. There is no demand for perfect faith. There is no list of achievements to show at the door. The only thing required is the willingness to step in and let the load be noticed. Now lie down. I say this slowly, so the ear can catch each small truth and hold it like a pebble in the hand. Imagine a tired traveler arriving at a porch. The night is cool. The traveler's sack is heavy and frayed. They set it down without fanfare. They do not have to explain every item inside. A kind figure meets them at the threshold and does not press for accounts. Instead, a seat is offered. The lamp is lit. The traveler sinks into the chair and feels something shift. That meeting is the image the passage brings. It is an offering of rest, not a performance of worth. I ask you now to picture the burdens you carry. They do not need names unless you want them. Some are loud. Some live like small pebbles in the shoe. Always there, but hardly noticed until you remove the shoe. Pick one burden gently in the mind. Feel its weight for a breath. Then imagine setting it down on a low table. Notice the relief that comes from simply letting it rest on something solid. This invitation to surrender is not about losing memory or pretending pain never happened. It is about offering ache to a caring presence that can hold it with steadiness. Surrender here means to stop gripping so tightly. It means to let hands open a little. That opening is both small and brave. It does not erase sorrow. It makes room for tenderness. I guide a short practice. Sit or lie with support. Place one hand over the heart and the other on the belly. If that feels safe, breathe in for 3 slow counts. Hold for 1 gentle beat. Breathe out for 4 counts. On each out-breath, imagine a thin rope stretching from your chest to the table where you put the burden. With each exhale, the rope slackens a little. The load does not vanish in a single breath. It lightens, bit by bit. Keep the rhythm. The breathing anchors the letting go. Sometimes, surrender looks like a small ritual. Picture a wooden box on the table. It is plain. Into it go short notes. You write in the mind. A single sentence each time. I name one worry and tuck it in. Another breath. You place a récréansal. The lid closes quietly. The box is not locked. You can open it later. For now it sits where someone else can see it and hold it. The act of placing the worry in the box is itself a surrender. It is a practical, humble exchange. I read another line in my low voice. The calling invites rest to be shared. It asks not only that burdens be set down, but that arms be offered and received. There is courage in accepting help. It is not a sign of failure. It is a sign of wisdom and trust. Imagine reaching the hand across a table. Another hand meets yours. Neither needs to speak much. Holding hands can be enough for several quiet breaths. Mercy blooms in this space. It arrives like a slow light, not a flash. Mercy does not shame the broken. It tends the edges. It stitches without haste. Think of a seamstress working at a small lamp. Each stitch is precise and careful. The work is humble. Over time, the seams grow strong again. That steady, unhurried care is the mercy I mention. It comes often through ordinary acts, someone warming a meal, a note left on a pillow, a quiet, bisit. Notice such a small mercy from your own recent days. Let it settle as a proof that care is still near. I keep the sentences short now to make room for the listening. Surrender is gentle. Surrender is an unarmed act. It does not mean giving up on hope. It means handing what you cannot hold alone to a presence that is willing to share the weight. Imagine putting a heavy object across a table and stepping back. See how the shoulders drop a fraction. That fraction is a beginning. There is a fear that surrender will mean losing self. That fear is understandable. Surrender here is more like laying an arm across the back of a chair. The arm rests. The pattern of the shirt remains the same. The self is not erased. It is steadied. The promise is of a rest that renews the strength to move again. Slowly and with care, I offer another short practice. Choose a single phrase to hold quietly inside. The phrase need be no longer than 3 words. Something like, come and rest. Say it on the inhale. Say it on the exhale. Let it be a soft rope tied to the chair of the porch. Repeat it for 5 breaths. No need to judge the phrase. Just let it hold you for a little while. If anger or doubt rises as you consider surrender, note that too. These are honest reactions. They may say, what if help is not safe? What if the pain returns? Name those questions with a soft gaze. Lay them beside the first burden. Let the hands nearby know the whole picture. Surrender does not require blind trust. It welcomes honesty. It invites you to bring the hard questions as well as the weary sighs. I read a small, calm prayer now. It asks for the courage to come. It asks for hands that steady without haste. It asks for a rest that is true and restful. The prayer is brief. It is a simple offering. Hold it silently. Let it be a small lamp on your bedside. Hope here is not a booming claim that all will instantly change. Hope is a patient light that shows the next step. It is a soft clarity that says this breath, then the next. The promise in the invitation is not of immediate triumph. It is of a presence who walks with you through the slow nights. Imagine a steady companion by your side, not rushing, not dramatizing, simply holding a lantern while you take your time. Now, let us practice handing over a single thing. Choose one specific worry, small or large. Picture taking it in 2 hands. Walk it to the table in the mind. Place it on the cloth. Breathe. Allow another presence imagined, trusted, named in prayer, to take their hand and lift that object gently. The gesture is small. It matters. The weight shifts. You breathe deeper. This is surrender made practical and humane. I remind you that returning to this porch may happen again and again. Surrender is sometimes repeated. That is okay. The years that need this porch include seasons of coming and going. Each return is not failure. Each return is honest living. The porch stays lit. The lamp does not judge. As I close this part, I lower my voice further. I leave a space for the mind to settle. Rest here for a few slow breaths. Keep the hand where it feels grounding. If sleep comes, let it take you. If wakefulness remains, allow the breathing and the image of the porch to hold you. In the next part, I will read more short prayers and offer another small practice on receiving mercy. For now, accept the invitation to come and rest. Let the load lie on the table. Stay as long as you need. I slow my voice and turn to a passage about kindness and forgiveness. I do not recite it like law. I offer it like a lamp. The words ask for gentle hearts and a willingness to forgive. I say them simply: be kind, tender, ready to let go. Let those words enter like soft rain. Forgiveness is not a single grand act. It is often a small, repeated choice. It is not forgetting what happened. It is not pretending harm did not occur. It is not giving permission for the same wrong to be done again. Forgiveness looks different in each life. Sometimes it is a quiet release in the night. Sometimes it is a gentle boundary, kept with love. The work of forgiveness does not rush. I ask you to picture a quiet table again. The table sits under the lamp on the porch. On it sits a small wooden bowl. Into that bowl you place a pebble for each hurt you carry. Name one quietly in the mind. Feel its weight for a single breath. Then put that pebble into the bowl. Do not explain it. Just place it there. Notice how the shoulder loosens by a fraction. That small loosened space is forgiveness beginning. Forgiveness can be an inward act as much as an outward one. Imagine one of the pebbles is someone's name. See the person as a figure in soft light. Do not search for excuses or rebuild the hurt. Simply hold their image with a steady hand. Wish them peace in the same way you might wish warmth for a traveler. That wish is a simple movement of the heart toward release. Sometimes a practical image helps. Picture a ribbon tied around the pebble. The ribbon is a memory of the pain. On an out-breath, let your fingers ease the ribbon loose. Let the ribbon fall away. The pebble remains, but the tightness around it eases. This does not pretend the pebble is unimportant. It simply changes how you carry it. I guide a short breathing practice now. Place one hand over the heart. Breathe in for 3 slow counts. Let the breath reach into the place where resentment sits. Hold 1 soft beat. Breathe out for 4 counts. On the out-breath, imagine bitterness leaving like steam rising from a cup. Repeat this 5 times. No hurry. The breath is the tool. Each cycle loosens a knot that you have held too long. Forgiveness often requires truth. It is honest about hurt, but it refuses to become a prison. Consider a window that has become smeared with old dust. Cleaning it does not erase the frame or the house. It simply clears the glass so light can pass. Forgiving does a similar clearing. It does not wipe away the past. It helps light find a path again. There are times when forgiveness is safe to speak aloud. There are other times when safety requires distance. Forgiving at a distance is real forgiveness. You can release without inviting more harm. Let mercy and prudence walk together. Boundaries can be part of a forgiven life. I speak of self-forgiveness now. It is a gentle and necessary kindness. Many carry a ledger of their own failures. The ledger is heavy. Place that ledger on the table. Read one line softly in the mind. Close the book. Offer yourself the same compassion you would offer a friend who hurt. Consider remembering the tenderness that tended you as a child, or a steady hand that rests on your shoulder. Let that memory become a small salve. A practice helps here too. Take a breath and imagine writing your own name on a scrap of paper. On the paper, write one brief phrase, "I am learning." Fold it and set it into the bowl with the pebbles. This is not a license to harm. It is a permission to be human. Forgiveness towards self is slow. It needs witness and patience. I ask you to notice how forgiving does not mean forgetting the lesson. The body may hold patterns that need care. Healing may ask for new habits. Forgiveness and learning walk side by side. Forgiving does not cancel the need for wise choices. It clears the heart so wise choices can be made without a burning ache. Sometimes a small ritual makes the process tangible. Imagine a little candle by the bowl. Light it in the mind. Tell one sentence, silently, about the hurt. Then let the candle burn for 3 breaths and extinguish it with a slow exhale. The light shows the truth. The extinguishing is not hiding. It is a deliberate lowering of the flame so rest can come. Do this when the mind wants ceremony. Keep it simple. I offer a spare prayer now. Ask for the courage to forgive. Ask for the grace to see things clearly. Ask for tenderness toward the self and toward others. Keep the prayer short. Let it be a soft rope tied between your heart and the porch lamp. Do not feel. You must speak it aloud. Keep it in the mind like a small pledge. Forgiveness may be repeated. It often comes and goes, like tides. One day, you lay down the pebble and stand upright. Another day, the grip tightens again. That is not failure. Return to the table. Place the pebble back in the bowl with a softer hand. Each return is practice. Each return is mercy learned. There are times when forgiveness is slow, because grief must be felt first. Let grief have its length. Forgiveness does not force the timeline. It leans patiently beside the sorrow. Imagine a friend who sits for hours without speaking. Their presence teaches you to be still. Forgiveness often grows in that stillness. I read calmly about kindness now. Kindness gives shape to forgiveness. Simple acts, offering a cup of tea, listening without comment, sending a short note, open the door to softer hearts. Notice one small act of kindness from the past week. Hold it lightly. Let it prove that gentleness still exists in the world. If bitterness rises as an argument in the mind, do a quick check. Where does the anger live in the body? Send a breath there. Name it with one small word, tight. Hot. Heavy. Breathe toward it. Let the breath move, as if loosening a knot in a rope. The knot may not fully release, but it will ease. That easing is part of forgiving. Forgiveness can free space for hope. It does not guarantee reconciliation. It does not always restore the old relationship. Sometimes it clears a path to new kinds of peace. Picture space opening on the table. New objects can rest there. A small plant, a coupe, a book. These are small seeds of a life that carries memory but is not bound by it. I remind you that forgiveness is a gift you give yourself as much as anyone else. When the hands unclench, the chest has more room to breathe. When the mind lowers the guard, sleep sometimes arrives with less interruption. This rest is not a reward from the outside. It is a natural consequence of making peace with what cannot be changed. Before I close this part, I offer one last practice. Choose one pebble in the bowl. Take it in mind and imagine a hand steady and kind lifting it and placing it on a shelf. The shelf is safe. The pebble is kept. But it no longer sits on your lap. Breathe 3 slow cycles as the hand sets the pebble down. Feel the lightness settle. I end with a short blessing. May the tenderness needed to forgive come gently. May mercy meet your hesitation without pressure. May rest follow the letting go. Keep the lamp low. Keep the hand where it grounds. When you are ready, I will turn the page, and we will continue with a few short prayers and a practice to help receive mercy. For now, breathe slowly and rest with the thought that forgiveness is a patient, steady path. I open the Bible again tonight. My lamp is low. The pages whisper when I turn them. I read slowly. I do not quote exact lines. I paraphrase in a gentle way that the ear can hold. I speak about a promise that feels like a blanket. It says that grace is enough. It says that in our places of weakness, something new can happen. Power finds its way into those cracks. The image is simple. The strength meets the small places and fills them without hurry. Think of a cracked clay pot. Water pours into it. The water does not judge the crack. It seeps and soaks and becomes part of the pot's life. The pot stays cracked. It also holds what it needs. That is grace. It is not a patch that hides the break. It is the tender filling that makes use of what remains. I imagine someone who has lost a friend or family member. The loss sits heavy. It presses in the ribs. Sometimes the mind returns to a single harsh moment. Sometimes it circles the whole history. Forgiveness can arrive like a small, careful hand. It lifts the stone of bitterness from the chest. The stone is not thrown away. It is set down. The act of setting down frees the shoulders. I read the promise again in my own words. It says, when you are weakest, the help you need is nearest. What feels not enough becomes the place grace pours through. This is not a magic trick. It is a steady truth. It changes the frame. Where once there was only lack, there can be presence. Where shame tightens, tenderness can slip in. I tell you this as the one who reads scripture at the bedside. I speak not as a preacher, but as a companion. My voice stays low. The rhythms are short. Each sentence is a small hand. Here is a simple image to hold. Imagine standing in a small room with a single window. The glass is misted from a long night. A faint light pushes through and finds the dust. The light does not erase the mist. It makes it soft. Let your worry be the mist. Let grace be the light. Grace does not remove the memory of loss. It makes the memory less sharp. It gives the eye something gentle to rest on. Receive a short practice with me. Sit or lie with attention. Place one hand over the heart. Let the other rest open on the belly or the bed. Breathe in for 3 slow counts. Feel the breath come into the place where the chest tightens. Hold 1 gentle beat. Breathe out for 4 counts. With each out-breath, imagine a soft light entering through the crown and settling in the chest. Say quietly to yourself, "Grace enough." Repeat this for 5 breaths. Let the phrase be a thin rope from the mouth to the lamp on the table. No grand speeches, just a tether. I often think of grace as a warm cloth. It wraps without blistering. It does not force healing. It only attends. When I forgive someone, that cloth covers the raw place for a while. I do not pretend the cut never happened. I only refuse to carry it as a stone in my hands any longer. Forgiveness and grace work together here. Forgiveness is the act of setting the stone down. Grace is the hand that holds the cloth and watches. If the mind protests, if anger rises or fear says, "This is too much," notice it. Give the protest a soft name and let it sit like a passing cloud. The cloud does not change the sun. The sun still pours light on the table. The protest is part of weather, not the entire sky. Grief sometimes makes us feel small and exposed. In that smallness, grace moves closest. It does not rush us to be whole. It meets the smallness with steady strength. Imagine a friend who sits very near and does not speak. They breathe the same air. Their presence steadies the body. That is the work of grace in the soul. I guide a quiet exercise for receiving this grace. Close the eyes if that feels safe. Imagine your hands cupped. Into those hands, pour a slow stream of warm light. The light is patient. It sinks into any hollow. It does not flood. It fills enough to warm the edges. Keep the hands cupped for 3 breaths. Let the light pool there. Then bring the hands to the heart and set the light gently inside. Breathe and feel how the center loosens a fraction. There is a liberation that comes when forgiveness meets grace. It is not always loud. Often it is a quiet unclenching. A person I loved may be gone, or a wound may be deep. The moment forgiveness loosens its hold, the chest can expand a little more. That expansion is not the end of grief. It is a small corridor opened so that breath can move through. I offer a tiny ritual you can do at night. Find a small stone or pebble. Hold it for a moment. Feel its weight. Imagine placing one burden on it. Say the name of the hurt in a short phrase, the loss, the betrayal, the silence. When you are ready, set the pebble on the bedside table. Imagine grace like water running around the pebble. The water does not wash away the stone. It smooths the edges a little. Leave the pebble there. If the mind returns to the hurt, notice the pebble. Remember the water circling it. Let that image be a gentle reminder that something holds the weight for you now. I speak briefly about weakness. Many nights I hear people confess their frailty. They whisper that they are not enough. The scripture I read tonight turns that whisper into an invitation. Being not enough is not the final word. It is the place where grace shows up. The paradox is quiet and kind in the place of lack. Help is found. Do not mistake this for a removal of responsibility. The promise does not excuse harm. It comforts the damaged. It gives space for new steps. It asks for honesty when I admit the places I cannot fix. I make room for the tender help that does the slow mending. It is a practical humility. It is restful. I offer one short prayer now. Quiet and spare. Ask for grace to be felt like a warm hand. Ask for courage to set the burden down. Ask for a small, steady hope for tomorrow. Keep the prayer to yourself, or let it rest in your mind like a stone turned over and found clean on one face. Say nothing aloud if that feels better. Feel the prayer as an inward action. If forgiveness still feels impossible tonight, be gentle with that refusal. Grace is patient. It waits. You may need to come to the porch many times. The lamp will still be there. You will approach again in your own pace. Each return matters. Each small willingness is a step, not a verdict. Remember, this receiving grace does not erase the person you miss. It simply changes the way their memory rests in your chest. A name can sit beside a softer breath. A photograph can be a place of warmth as well as sorrow. The soul learns new ways to hold what was lost. As I close this part, breathe slowly once more. Place your hand over the chest if that helps. Feel the small space that has loosened. Trust that grace is a steady presence, not a sudden performance. It is sufficient for tonight. It is sufficient for the slow mornings that follow. I finish by promising to read again. The next part will hold short prayers and a quiet practice to rest in grace overnight. For now, let the lamp be low. Let the hands be open. Let the phrase grace enough sit on the tongue like a soft blessing. Stay with this for a few breaths. When you are ready, I will turn the page and continue. I speak now of restoring inner peace. The room is quiet. The lamp breathes soft light. My voice stays low. I bring to mind a familiar promise. It says that a peace can guard the heart and the thinking. That peace does not come from clever plans. It arrives beyond what reason can fetch. Consider that promise tonight. Let it be a simple fact in the room. Picture a still lake at dawn. The surface is like glass. Mist rises and then settles. Nothing ripples at first. A single bird lands far away, and the sound is gentle. The lake does not try to explain itself. It simply holds the sky. Let that image rest in the mind. The heart can be like that lake. It does not need to churn for meaning. It can receive calm. I invite a small visualization. Lie or sit with support. Close the eyes slowly if that feels safe. Breathe in. Fill the belly softly. Breathe out. Repeat twice. Now imagine a soft light entering through the crown of the head. The light moves like a slow current. It drops into the chest. It pools there like water in a shallow bowl. Feel the bowl warm. Let the warmth ease the tightness. Philippians speaks of a peace that surpasses understanding. I do not recite it as a test. I offer it as an image to rest on. Think of a guardian that is quieter than thought. It stands not to argue, but to encircle. Its presence is mild and steady. It breathes with you. It does not force feelings to be different. It simply holds them While they soften, try a brief body scan with me. Keep the breath even. Notice the crown, the forehead, the jaw. Allow the jaw to unclench. Let the shoulders drop. Soften the back where it leans against the mattress or the chair. Move attention slowly to the ribs. Place a hand there if that comforts. Feel the rise and fall. Let each exhale be a small surrender of tightness. I name a short phrase now. Say it inside with calm breath, peace beyond thought. Keep it quiet. Do not turn it into a command. Let it be a cushion. Repeat it on the out-breath for 3 cycles. Notice how the phrase meets resistance sometimes. Notice when it does not slip easily into the chest. That resistance is not failure. It is simply the mind doing its work. Return gently to the image. Imagine the heart as a small room with a window. Outside, the weather changes. Inside, a lamp sits on a table. The lamp does not banish the storm. It only gives a steady light. The stanza of promise is like that lamp. It does not solve the larger weather. It makes one corner of the inner room bright enough to read by. When the next choice arrives, the light is already there. If anxiety presses with questions, give it a quiet seat. Picture setting those questions on a low bench by the door. They will not be ignored. They will be offered a place to rest. For now, do not hand them your whole attention. Let the breath be the keeper of the door. On the out-breath, imagine closing the door a fraction. The questions remain. They are not allowed to crowd the whole house for tonight. I offer a very small exercise with objects. Take a pebble in the mind. Let it be the shape of worry. Hold it. Feel the weight. Walk to the shoreline of the imagined lake. Set the pebble down at the water's edge. Do not throw it. Place it gently. Watch how the water laps at the pebble and does not judge. The pebble sits, and the water passes around it. Breathe. Let this simple act show how peace keeps space for what is hard. There are gentle practices for the mind that help the heart settle. Try naming 3 things that are true. Now, they can be very small. A lamp on the table, a cup cooling, feet tucked under a blanket. Speak them in the mind. Each name is a pebble that stabilizes the ground. The act is not dismissal. It is grounding. Let the list be short and steady. I speak a short prayer now. The words are spare. Say them in the mind if that is better. Ask that a peace, like a steady guard, come to the chest. Ask that the mind find rest from its busy turning. Ask for tenderness to meet the places that pinch. Keep the prayer small. Let it be a bridge, not a performance. Sometimes inner peace looks like a shield, not a hard armor, a soft, permeable shield that allows mercy and warmth through but slows the sharp edges of fear. Picture that shield forming around the heart. It is woven of light and patience. It hums very quietly. When distress knocks, the shield absorbs much of the sting. The sound changes. It is lighter on the other side. If sleep does not come easily, let the mind be full of textures rather than events. Think of wool, of paper, of cool marble. Let the senses move through textures. Notice the softness of a blanket. Notice the way a page turns slowly. The mind favors images like these when the night is long. they do not demand answers. They only ask the senses to rest. I offer another brief practice for the breath. Breathe in to the count of 3. Hold the breath for 1 gentle beat. Breathe out to the count of 5. Let each out-breath be longer than the in-breath. With each exhale, imagine a thread loosening where the chest feels tight. Do this for 5 cycles. No pressure for perfection, just steady motion. There may be nights when peace feels foreign. That is okay. The promise is not that peace will overwhelm tonight. The promise is that a peace greater than what the mind can grasp will guard the heart. Guarding may look like a quiet lowering of alarm. It may look like a small place inside, where the throat does not clench. Notice whatever form it takes, and hold it gently. Consider a small ritual to finish the day. Take a single note in the mind. It can be a sentence, "I am held." Fold that sentence inward like a small corner of cloth. Tuck it beneath the heart with the hand in the mind. Let the image sit there for a few breaths. The ritual is not magic. It is an act of attention. It tells the nervous system, without words, that some companion receives what it cannot bear alone. Forgiveness and peace often travel together when a harsh memory tightens the chest. Let the inner lamp be steady and unhurried. Do not force reconciliation or answers. Let peace be the space in which forgiveness can sometimes begin. Sometimes it begins with a tiny loosening. Sometimes it waits. Do not be surprised if the heart needs many nights to learn the shape of gentleness. I guide a quiet scene of receiving now. Imagine sitting on a low bench. Someone hands you a cup of warm tea. You do not have to speak. You take the cup. You feel its warmth. You lift it to the lips and sip. The warmth spreads slowly. This is mercy in small form. The cup is simple. The act is ordinary. Yet the chest remembers how to trust for a little while. If intrusive thoughts return, try a gentle refocusing. Name one sound in the room. Name one smell. Name one small object in sight. These small anchors reorient the attention from the drama of the mind to the actual present. The present is less loud. It is more manageable. Let the small facts be your companions. I end this practice with a concise prayer. Say it softly in the mind. Ask that a peace that goes beyond thinking guard the heart and the mind. Request that this peace arrive as a slow hand that steadies the breath. Ask that the night be a room of rest. Keep the prayer brief. Let it live quietly at the edge of sleep. Before I close, I offer a blessing in low voice. May a calm greater than thought settle over the chest. May hands of mercy hold the raw places without hurry. May small, steady hope press into the places that ache. Rest like a small lamp beside the bed. Breathe and return to the porch when you need it again. I will read again in the next part. I will offer short prayers and a simple practice to carry this peace into sleep. For now, lie still or sit supported. Keep the hands where they comfort. Let the phrase peace beyond thought be a soft tether. When you feel ready, close the eyes and allow the night to do its quiet work. I open the Bible gently and let the page settle. My lamp is low. The paper breathes. I do not speak the lines as law or proof. I paraphrase them slowly so the ear can rest. Tonight, I hold a passage that meets fear in dark places. It speaks of walking through valleys that feel wide and deep. It speaks of a presence that does not leave when the way narrows. I say it simply. Even in the darkest valley there is a companion near. The companionship is quiet. It is not loud or demanding. It comes with steady hands and calm steps. I read this not as a promise of sudden disappearance of pain. I read it as a promise of company, while the night does its work. Picture a valley now. Do not make it larger than it feels. Keep it honest. The valley can be narrow and cold. It can be long. It can hold echoes. Let the mind see the slope, the low light, the far edge that is not yet visible. The valley is not a doom. It is a landscape. The path continues through it. Imagine a figure walking beside you. The figure does not hurry. The steps match yours. When the footing is uncertain, the figure reaches a hand. That hand steadies, not sights us. It meets the ankle, supports the wrist, offers a small, practical aid. The touch is not a performance. It is the work of presence. Feel that steadying now with a calm breath. I speak of a rod and a staff as simple tools. One guides, one steadies. Think of the rod as a guide that points the safe path. Think of the staff as a restful support, a place to lean when the knees are tired. These images are not weapons nor magic. They are practical. They are the kind of help a weary traveler needs. Place one hand over the sternum if that feels safe. Let the other rest loosely by the side. Breathe in for 3 counts. Hold the breath 1 small beat. Breathe out for 4 counts. On each out-breath, imagine the staff pressing gently against your palm. Each breath is a step. Each step is held. Do this for 5 cycles. Keep the sentences in the mind short. Keep the breath steady. The valley sometimes brings fear that feels very real. Fear comes as images, as quick pulse, as tightness. Name a single word that names the fear. Say it inside the mind once. Do not turn it into a speech. Place the word in a small bowl in the imagination. Watch it, rather than being carried away by it. The act of naming is a small clearing of the mind. I read the Psalms idea again in my own voice. It says, when shadows fall, there is a nearness that steadies. It says the presence is not a distant idea. It is close enough to hold the hand, to guide the step, to steady the breath. This nearness is not harsh or theatrical. It is like a warm cloak placed over the shoulders. The valley will not always be a metaphor. Sometimes it is a loss, sudden and raw. Sometimes it is a long, slow decline. Sometimes it is the heavy adult work of caring for a loved one. The presence in the text meets all this, not by erasing, but by walking through. Imagine the companion carrying a small lamp. The lamp does not flood the valley with brightness. It shows the next stone and the next breath. That is enough. Try a short grounding now. Find 3 things you can sense. 1 thing you hear. 1 thing you feel against the skin. 1 thing you can imagine touching. Name them silently. Each small naming brings the mind to the edge of the valley without forcing it to be less. It roots the nervous system in the present. I speak of comfort as a steady, practical thing. It is not platitude. Comfort is a balm applied often and slowly. Imagine a soft cloth pressed to a wound. The cloth does not cure instantly. It keeps the hurt from throbbing, so the body can do its quiet work. Picture the cloth now. Feel its texture in the imagination. Let the image rest. When the path is rocky, the staff offers a place to rest weight. Lean into that image for a moment. Imagine the staff taking the weight of one tight shoulder. Imagine the rod pointing at the next safe foothold. The act of picturing these tools frees the hands inside your chest. You may notice a small loosening. That loosening matters. I read a few lines of prayer in quiet phrases. Ask for the presence to be close. Ask for hands that steady. Ask for quiet guidance step by step. Keep the prayer short. Do not make a list. Keep it small and specific. Let it be a single rope tied from the heart to the lamp on the bedside table. If fear presses like a hand at the throat, breathe toward the tightness. Send the air like a small breeze across the chest. With each exhale, imagine the staff easing more weight onto itself. The hand of the companion does not force the fear away. It takes the extra load so the chest can breathe. Practice this for 3 slow cycles. There is a comforting image that I carry from the psalm. It is a table set in the middle of a rough camp. The table is simple. Bread rests there. The presence does not ask for performance. It invites rest and a bite of food. The meal is not a feast. It is a steady, human act of care. Picture sitting at that table for a moment. Take one imagined bite. Notice the smallness of it. Notice the steadiness that returns. I tell a short story in low voice. I have seen grief come as a cold that steals appetite. I have seen hands that tremble return to work only after a slow season of careful tending. The presence is not a quick fix. It is patient. It tends in small ways. It offers a hand to lift a cup. It fills a water glass. These acts are not trivial. They are mercy in small form. If sleep resists tonight, allow the mind to picture the valley as a corridor with soft light on one side. The light moves slowly ahead of you. You do not have to run toward it. You follow it with small steps. The corridor holds your pace. The companion walks with equal attention. Let the mental pace match the breath. I invite a simple exercise to receive the shepherd's care. Close the eyes, if that feels safe. Imagine a hand resting on the top of your head. The hand is warm and calm. It does not push. It stays a moment and then rests at the heart. Feel that pressure like a small blessing. Breathe into it. Let the hand be a sign of steadiness. There may be nights when presence feels distant. That is part of the valley. The companion does not always feel close. Still. The promise is that nearness does not depend on feeling. It depends on a fact of care. Trusting that fact is a practice, not a sudden faith. It is a steady return to the porch, when the heart remembers where the lamp is. I speak now of courage. Courage is not absence of fear. It is the willingness to take another small step anyway, when the feet hesitate on the path. Take one slow, measured step. Place the foot down and feel the ground. Repeat. Each small step builds a path of its own. Courage grows like grass between the stones. It is slow and patient. If any resentment or anger rises at the thought of needing help, name it gently. Let the feeling be a small stone. Place it beside the staff. It does not have to be hidden. The staff can hold the stone for a while. That is the trade of community. One holds so another can rest. I close with a brief practice to carry into sleep. Place a hand over the chest. Repeat a short phrase in the mind-presence hold. Keep the phrase quiet. Breathe with it for 5 cycles. With each out-breath, imagine the staff carrying a little more weight. Imagine the rod pointing to the next small step. Let the room feel like a harbor. I end this part with a low blessing. May the nearness you need be real. May hands steady the steps when the valley runs long. May the lamp show the next foothold. Rest now. Keep the hand where it comforts. I will turn the page when you are ready and continue with prayers that tuck this nearness into sleep. I open the Bible and let the pages rest in the lamp's glow. The night breathes soft. Tonight, the reading rests on a simple promise. It says that sleep can be peaceful. It says safety can be trusted. It says rest is not a thing to earn. It is a gift to receive. I set the book down within reach. A small sound of the page settling fills the room. The voice is low. Words arrive slow, like steps toward a porch. The idea is plain. Lie down and sleep in quiet. There is a hand that keeps watch. That hand does not startle at every creak. It stays steady through the dark. Make a small movement now to prepare. Ease the body into a comfortable place. Cover with a blanket if that soothes. Turn the face to the pillow. Rest the hands where they can be felt. If it helps, place a palm over the sternum. Feel the rise of each breath. No hurry. No performance. The body has done enough for today. Imagine a simple room by the sea. A small lamp sits by the bed. Outside, waves move slow and even. The air tastes faintly of salt and cool. Inside, the quilt holds warmth. The place is not bright. It is safe. The lamp is enough to show the edges. In such a room, sleep comes when it wishes. It is not forced. I paraphrase the psalm quietly. It promises peaceful lying down. It says, someone keeps the house safe through the night. Hold that promise lightly. Do not force it into the mind like a proof. Let it be a small fact to return to, like a pebble in the pocket. The pebble is a quiet reminder. Rest is allowed here. We start a short practice. Keep the breathing slow. Inhale for 3 counts. Hold 1. Exhale for 4. With each out-breath, imagine a small knot somewhere in the body. Untying, begin at the toes. Picture each toe releasing. Move up to the soles. Let the ankles loosen. Breathe again. Let the calves soften. Let the knees sink. Each breath travels a little higher. Now bring attention to the hips. Release the grip there. Even if only a fraction. Let the pelvis settle into the mattress. Move the breath toward the belly. Feel it rise. Then fall. With each exhale, let the rib cage widen slightly. Soften the shoulders a degree. Let the arms lie heavy at the sides. The hands unclench. The jaw relaxes. The forehead smooths. If the mind drifts to tasks undone, place those thoughts on a small table in the imagination. One by one, set them down. A grocery note, an email, a worry about tomorrow. Lay each item like a small stone. Do not rework them. Put them down and leave them there for now. They need not be solved before sleep. They can rest upon the table until morning. A very short prayer now. Say it slowly in the mind. Ask for safekeeping tonight. Ask that rest be without shame. Ask that a watchful tenderness draw near. Keep the prayer to 1 or 2 lines. Let it be a small cord tied from the chest to the bedside lamp. No flourish. Just a gentle hand reached out. Picture again the lamp beside the bed. Imagine a soft circle of light that does not demand anything. Within that circle, the heart can be honest. Pain can be present without loudness. Grief can sit quietly. Hope can take one breath. The light does not erase sorrow. It holds it without allowing it to spread into everything. If fear rises at night, name it in one word. Say it once in the mind: fear. Dread. Alone. Place that word in a small bowl on the table. Watch the bowl gather many words over time. It is not a dismissal. It is a way of giving the mind a place to set heavy things. Naming makes the fear concrete enough to be shared. Shared things are lighter. Try another simple image. Imagine a gentle curtain drawn across a window. Outside, the wind may move. Inside, the room stays quiet. The curtain lets the light in and blocks the cold. Think of sleep as that curtain. It does not stop the world. It simply makes a private, protected space. Let the chest feel the shelter of that curtain for a few breaths. There is comfort in small rituals, if it helps. Make one tonight. Turn down the lamp a notch. Fold a small cloth and set it by the bedside. Take one sip of warm water. A tiny sequence of acts signals the body that rest follows. Repetition builds safety. The mind learns the pattern. Over time, the ritual itself becomes a kind of invitation. I speak now of trust. Trust is not blind. It is practical. It is the decision to step back from carrying everything so close. When the hands unclench, the shoulders drop. When the shoulders drop, sleep can find a gap to enter. This is not a one-time act. It is a small practice repeated. The torch of rest remains lit for each returning night. If pain wakes in the middle of sleep, greet it with a soft hand. Breathe toward the place that hurts. It may be the belly, the head, or the chest. Send the breath like a small cool cloth. Do not demand the pain to vanish. Let presence be enough. Presence keeps company without making a fuss. A brief exercise for midnight awakenings. Sit up slowly, if that feels safe. Place feet on the floor. Touch a warm cup of tea if available. Breathe for 5 slow cycles. Count each breath. The counting anchors attention away from spirals. It brings the body back to the present. When lying down again, tuck the blanket up and feel the chest soften. Imagine the night as a spacious room with a soft floor. Wander in your mind to a corner where a couch waits. Lay down there for a while. The couch is firm and friendly. A hand comes to rest on your shoulder and does not leave. The hand does not say much. It steadies. This is the image of being kept. It is a practical kindness, like someone closing the door and drawing the shade. Sleep may be light for a time. That is all right. Rest works in de grace. Even quiet waking rest is helpful. Muscles release. The nervous system calms. The mind may still move in fragments. Allow those fragments to pass like clouds. Do not chase them. Do not push them away. Watch them drift. The watching itself slows the storm. End the night with a short blessing. Say it softly, in the mind. May sleep be kind. May the body repair. May the heart be kept. May morning come with a small hope. Keep the words short. Let them land like seeds in soft soil. I pause now and let the silence do its work. The lamp is low. The page of the Bible rests face down for a moment. Later, when the night feels ready, I will read again. I will offer another passage. I will offer prayers that fold rest into the dark. For now, remain still. Allow the breath to lengthen. Allow the body to sink. If sleep comes, welcome it without guilt. If wakefulness stays, sit with it without shame. Both are parts of the same night. Both are held. Rest is a gift that may arrive slowly. Keep the hand where it steadies. Keep the lamp low. Trust that the presence that watches does not sleep. It keeps watch, so rest can be real. When morning comes, even a small easing will be a mercy. Hold that thought for a few slow breaths and sink further into the quiet. I sit by the lamp and tell a quiet story. The page rests open. The night holds us close. My voice is low. I read gently, and then I tell what I read in plain speech. This is a simple story of someone who travels through a long winter of the heart. The name is small and ordinary. Call them by any name you prefer. The shape of the story is what matters. They begin on a road that runs thin and cold. The path is narrow. Frost lives in the grass. Each step makes a small sound. They carry a pack that is heavy, with what cannot be fixed in a day. There is mourning in some of the pack. There is regret in others. There are things that feel irretrievable. That weight slows the feet. One morning the sky is pale and wide. The traveller stops under a lone oak. Wind moves the bare branches. A bird rides that wind with ease. It circles and climbs without apparent effort. The sight is small, but steady. Something in the chest loosens at the sight. The traveller watches the bird for a long time. I pause and let the image sink in. Breathe slowly with me. Inhale for 3. Exhale for 4. Watch the bird in your mind. Notice how it holds the air. Notice how it rests on the current. Let the sight be a small room of quiet. The traveller begins to follow the wind in small ways. Walking becomes less about the heavy pack and more about the path beneath the feet. Sometimes the feet stumble. Sometimes the wind changes. The bird continues to ride the air. It does not hurry to a destination. It trusts currents. It cannot see. There is a day when the pack seems unbearable. The traveller sits on a low stone by the side of the way. Tears come quietly at first, then more. The sound of crying is not loud. It moves like rain against the leaves. Someone comes by. They do not speak much. They sit at a respectful distance and offer a small cloth. They do not demand explanations. Their face is plain. Their presence is steady. I paraphrase the promise that picks up the edge of these moments. It says that strength is renewed when the heart waits in patient trust. It suggests that the very thing that feels worn out can become the place strength grows. This is not a magic trick. It is a slow work. It is like a seam that tightens thread by thread. The traveler rests. Sleep comes that night in a shelter that is humble. The body relaxes enough to let the breath deepen. In the morning there is a private change. The shoulders do not look solved, but they are less rigid. The stiffness eases like a rope, released a little at a time. I invite a practice here. Close your eyes if that feels safe. Picture the traveler lifting their face to the wind. Feel the breeze on your cheeks. Imagine tiny wings at the shoulder. Hardly felt at first. Breathe in slowly. Imagine the wings loosening. Breathe out. With each out-breath, the wings become a degree easier. Repeat this for 5 slow cycles. The road bends toward a valley. The valley is shadowed and cool. The traveler keeps moving. At the valley's mouth an elder waits, with a small bowl of bread and a cup of warm liquid. The elder's hands are kind. They do not hurry. They offer no long sermons. The act is simple food offered. Hands held steady, the traveler takes a piece of bread and tastes it slowly. The flavor is plain, but it settles the stomach. There is something sacred in this plainness. A small kindness undoes a little of the despair. I am careful with the words here. Kindness is not a cure. It is a steadying presence that happens to heal over time. Later, the traveler meets a river that moves with a soft insistence. The water is cold and clear. They sit on the bank and watch the flow. In the current, a leaf spins and finds its way. The traveler remembers a promise read earlier. Those who wait on renewed strength rise and soar. The promise is not a slap of power. It is the steady gaining of space to breathe and then to rise. Imaginez now a quiet lift. Place both hands flat on the chest. If that feels grounding, inhale to 3. Picture a light at the sternum. On the out-breath, imagine that light loosening a thread. Each breath frees a little more movement. Picture the shoulders as wings that are tired but capable of returning to work. Do this slowly, as if coaxing a small bird from a low branch. A season passes in small measures. The traveler walks and rests, takes bread, and sits by the river. Receives a cup and listens to a friend. Strength returns not in a burst, but in increments. That return often arrives after an honest night of weeping. It arrives after hands are offered and accepted. It comes when the heart learns not to hoard all its burdens alone. On a clear morning, the traveler climbs a low hill. They stop at the top and breathe long. The wind moves with a clean sound. They spread their arms without fanfare. The movement is small. The breath finds wider space. The wings are still not grand. They are tender and strong enough for a single, careful lift. I read now, quietly. The image I carry from Scripture, those who wait and hope, are given renewed strength, and they soar on wings like eagles. I say it not like a boast. I say it like a fact of tender work. It pictures a rising that is slow, faithful, and steady. Picture yourself on that hill for a moment. Feel the wind. Let the ribs widen with an in-breath. Let the exhale be long and soft. See the wings lift a fraction. Take another breath. The lift comes again. You do not need to become an eagle all at once. One small rise is enough for now. There are also days when the wings fold back. The traveler rests in shadow. Old fears come near. Sometimes the pack feels full again. That is part of the path. Renewal is not a one-time event. It is a repeated return to hope. Each return is a patient act. I offer a short ritual that can be done at night. Place a small stone on the bedside. Each time you feel heavy, hold the stone for a moment. Feel its weight. Breathe with it. Then set it down beside the lamp. The stone is witness. It shows that burdens can be touched and then set aside. The act trains hands to accept and to let go. Mercy shows up often as small patience. A neighbor who rings the bell, a friend who sends a short voice note, a hand that steadies at the table. These are the stitches used to mend what is torn. They may feel ordinary. They matter more than grand words. As the traveler learns to move with the wind, there is a careful trust. The trust is not blind. It is practical. It looks for safe places to step. It accepts help. It asks for rest when the body says so. It stoops to pick up small mercies and stores them in the pocket. I close the story with a quiet scene. The traveler stands at the cliff's edge, not because the trip is done, but because a higher wind moves. They spread arms and feel a gentle rise. It is not a sudden flight. It is a lifted step. The heart is lighter by degrees. The wings carry the weight differently now. I lower my voice and invite you to rest with the image. Breathe in slowly. Picture a soft lift at the shoulders. Let the breath lengthen. Let the idea sink that strength can be renewed in the places that are most worn. Let hope sit like a small bird on the windowsill. Before turning the page, I read a short prayer in plain words. Ask for patience. Ask for hands that steady. Ask for the courage to accept rest. Keep the prayer quiet. Let it be a small string tied to the lamp on the table. I will turn the page when you are ready. The next part will hold a few short prayers and a practice for rising gently in the morning. For now, remain still. Let the story sit in the chest. Let the breath be slow. Let the image of wings be a soft promise you can return to. I sit with the lamp low and the Bible open. My voice is steady and soft. I tell you that tonight I speak of prayer, not as a skill to master, not as a list of rules, as a simple doorway, as a hand extended across a table, as a breath that changes the shape of the chest. Prayer is small here. It is patient. It is not loud. It does not require clever words. It asks only that something honest be offered. The invitation is plain. Speak what is true, and then wait to listen. Sometimes the listening is felt as a quiet that settles into the bones. Sometimes it arrives as a single clear thought. Mostly it comes very slowly. Think of prayer like a lamp placed on a bedside table. The lamp does not banish the dark. It simply gives one steady point of light. You may sit with that light. You may look at your hands in it. You may say a few short sentences into the night. The lamp listens. It does not judge the fumbling voice. I read from the Bible by the lamp each night. I do not read long passages now. I choose words that rest easily in the ear. After a short reading, I pause and breathe with you. Then I fold a small prayer into the room. The prayer I say is not ornate. It is plain speech that a tired heart can hold. Prayer begins with what is true in the chest. If the chest is tight with sorrow, say that sorrow in a single short sentence in the mind. If anxiety hums, give it one word. If gratitude wakes, name it quietly. Naming is the first work of prayer. It makes the inward thing visible enough to be tended. There are gentle ways to pray that do not demand much. One is breath prayer. Breathe in slowly for 3 counts. Breathe out for 4. On the inhale, think the single word come. On the exhale, think the single word rest. Repeat this for 5 cycles. The words are simple. The rhythm is steady. The phrase is more a tether than a performance. The practice shapes the breath and the heart together. Another way is the short litany. In the mind, offer 3 small lines, thank you. Forgive me. Stay with me. Keep each line brief. Do not make explanations. If the first line comes without ease, leave it. The act is not to produce feeling on demand. It is to lay a hand on the chest and let a small truth sit there for a moment. The litany becomes a rope that steadies the evening. Prayer is also listening. After a short sentence, sit in silence for 30 slow counts. Do not rush to fill the space. Let the quiet be an answer of sorts. Sometimes the answer is a calm that moves through the body. Sometimes it is a memory that shifts. The important part is the waiting. Waiting trains the ear to hear what is true and present. I teach a practice of giving burdens a place. Imagine a low table beside the bed. On it, place a small dish. Into that dish put one worry each night. Name the worry with a few words in the mind, and set it on the dish. Close the eyes and say a brief prayer of handing over. You do not have to mean everything perfectly. You only have to practice placing the weight down. Over time, the dish fills with small things that have been offered. The act trains hands and heart to let go a little. Prayer can be practical. Pray for breath when breath is hard. Pray for sleep when the night is relentless. Pray for courage when a step is heavy. Ask for hands that steady. Ask for mercy that keeps company. These are not theological tests. They are the quiet requests of a body and soul in need. Praying for another is a particular kindness. Keep the requests short. Send one name into the quiet and ask for what that person needs most that night. You may name a single word for them: peace, rest, healing, courage. This prayer is a simple way of holding someone close when they are far. It trains the heart to carry tenderness beyond its own borders. There is a gentle ritual for times of acute sorrow. Sit with the small stone in the hand. Place the stone on the bed after a short prayer. Let the stone be a witness. In the morning, lift the stone and say one brief sentence of thanks for having been able to set that pain down. even for a night. The repetition makes the act real. It moves the care from thought into the realm of the body. Prayer is not a replacement for care. It works alongside rest, food, friends, and sleep. It often arrives as a companion to practical acts, a call from a neighbor, a warmed meal, a quiet visit. All of these are prayers in action. Notice the ways kindness answers the words you speak in the dark. That noticing itself deepens trust. If words feel heavy, use images. Picture a hand cupping a small flame. The hand does not smother the flame. It steadies it. Speak a short sentence in the mind that the hand might hold, and then let silence tend the image. The visual anchors the prayer without the weight of a long speech. Sometimes prayer is confession, not in a loud or public way. In the quiet of the night, name one thing you did poorly. Say it once. Ask for help to learn the next better step. Then let the mind return to the breath. Confession unclenches tension that otherwise keeps the chest tight. It is a humility that frees small spaces for rest. If anger is present, allow it to be simple and honest. Name the feeling as hot, sharp, or tight. Offer it in a brief sentence and ask for steady hands to meet it. Do not rush to forgive if it is not ready. Pray for wisdom in the day to come. Prayer need not rush the heart into false peace. It simply keeps the room lit while the work of mending begins. I often guide a short practice before sleep. Place one hand over the sternum. Breathe in for 3 counts. Breathe out for 5. On each out-breath, say inside the mind a single word safe. Held. Enough. Let the words be soft. Let them repeat without force. The breath holds the words like beads on a string. The practice has no agenda beyond settling the body. There is power in habitual prayer. A very small ritual, repeated nightly, grows roots. It teaches the nervous system that the porch light will be there. The ritual might be as simple as opening the Bible, reading one short phrase, saying a sentence of thanks, and then waiting in silence for a minute. Repetition builds a shelter in which the heart can rest. Prayer is also communal. I read the Bible for you each night. When I speak a prayer, I do not only speak for myself. I speak as one who brings a lamp to a room full of sleepers. You may take that lamp into your own quiet and use it there. The act of shared prayer makes the burden lighter. It forms a net of small hands. Do not despair if prayer feels empty at first. Sometimes the lips move and no warmth follows. That is allowed. Keep coming. Stay with the simple practices. Over time, the body recognizes the form and begins to respond. A tiny loosening may appear that was not there before. That is the work of prayer. It is slow and faithful. Avoid striving for eloquence. The simplest utterance is often the most honest. A short sentence said in the chest is worth a long speech that the heart cannot carry. Keep words spare. Keep the rhythm slow. The prayer that steadies is rarely grand. It is close and small and real. I give one short guided prayer now. Say it in the mind as you breathe. Begin with a short thanks for one small mercy today. Offer a single name or need. Ask for grace to rest. Sit quietly for 30 slow counts. Let the silence be the other half of the prayer. When the count finishes, breathe gently and release the thought. I close this part with a blessing, offered softly. May the habit of prayer be a lamp at your bedside. May small words find their way to steady you. May silence speak what the ears cannot hear. May hands of mercy gather the burdens you set down. Rest now with a single breath and a single short prayer folded into the night. I will read again tomorrow. And until then this lamp will stay low and the book will rest within reach. I open the book tonight with a quiet intention. A passage waits that speaks of hope. The idea is simple. A God who is the source of hope fills the heart with joy and peace. Trust becomes the small channel through which that filling moves. The Spirit, gentle and sure, makes hope rise until it overflows. I read without hurry. The words settle like soft rain. They do not push. They invite. They say that hope can be a steady current, not a sudden rush. Imagine a spring hidden under stones. Water gathers there. It is not loud. It gathers, and then it moves. That movement finds a way. It becomes a stream. That is how hope sometimes grows. Hold a small image with me. Picture a narrow garden bed at the edge of a house. The soil is dark and speechless. A single seed rests beneath the surface. Time passes. Nothing dramatic happens at first. A tiny root wakes. It is patient and slow. The green pushes upward. Careful and unimposing. When the shoot breaks the dirt, wonder arrives in a soft way. This is hope that begins quietly. I speak of joy and peace as gentle companions. Joy is not a loud trumpet. It is a small warmth behind the ribs. Peace is not a tidy calendar. It is a calm that steadies when the mind wants to race. Together they steady the night. They make a soft room inside the chest where breath can lengthen without pressure. Trust is the act of turning a small hinge. It does not mean certainty about everything. It means choosing a little handhold and leaning into it with trust. The stream of hope moves more freely. The Spirit helps the heart find the places where water gathers. Do not demand clarity on the first step. Let the hinge turn an inch. That inch is enough for one breath. Try a short practice now. Sit or lie where the body feels supported. Close the eyes if that helps. Place hands loosely on the thighs or at the sides. Breathe in slowly for 3 counts. Hold a gentle beat. Breathe out for 4. On the inhale, picture a thin current of light gathering at the belly. On the exhale, imagine that current spreading into the chest like a warm tide. Repeat this 5 times. The image is not magic. It is a gentle guide for the nervous system. Hope can be a habit. It grows when attention returns to small things. The practice of noticing one bright thing each evening is tiny but steady. Name one that was true today. A soft voice left in a message. A dish put away. A quiet moment of rest. Speak it once in the mind and let it sit like a smooth pebble in the pocket. This pebble is proof that light still reaches the day. I often tell a story as I read. There is a woman who sits by a small window each dawn. She places a cup of something warm near her hand. The house smells faintly of wood smoke. She watches how day edges into the room. Nothing dramatic occurs. The light moves, slow and patient. In that watching, hope gathers, not like fireworks, but like a gentle filling of a cup. The filling is enough to steady the hands for the day's simple tasks. Grief and hope can be neighbors. They do not cancel each other. A wounded heart can still hold a small light. The presence of sorrow does not mean hope is absent. Sometimes hope lives in the same room. Quieter. It waits until the chest loosens a fraction. That fraction makes space for a small, steady joy to land. A short breath prayer may help. On the inhale, think one word fill. On the exhale, think one word be. Keep the words soft. Do not force feeling. Repeat for 5 cycles. The practice is a tiny promise to the body. It invites filling rather than demanding it. It keeps expectation low and tenderness high. Imagine a bowl of water on a low table. Into it drop 1 leaf each evening. Each leaf is a small sorrow, a small worry, a small regret. Watch the leaves float. They do not sink immediately. They are not ignored. The water holds them. Oorteam. The leaves shift and gather at the edge. The bowl is an acted upon metaphor. It is a place to set the weight down without making a show of it. The spirit is like the quiet hand that helps steady the bowl. Hope sometimes arrives through the body's small repairs. A breath lengthens by a fraction. The jaw unclenches. The shoulders drop a notch. These are tiny healings. They stack. Do not discount small repairs. They are the building blocks of a steadier life. A simple ritual can anchor hope overnight. Keep a small object at the bedside. A pebble, a coin, a ribbon. Each evening, lay a single thought on that object. It might be a short phrase, a thing I hope for tomorrow, a gentle wish for someone, a breath of thanks. The hand rests on the object, then moves away. Overnight, the object becomes a witness to many small hopes. The practice trains the heart to place things down and trust them to be held. Kindness often becomes the channel for hope. A neighbor's brief visit, a warm bowl left at the door, a voice that says one honest sentence. These acts are not dramatic. They are practical. They feed the small stream of hope until it has enough volume to steady a walk. I also invite a small exercise to shift the mind from heavy images. Think of 5 textures now. Soft wool, cool stone, smooth glass, dry paper, warm wood. Do not turn them into a story. Let the textures be felt one by one. Very briefly, the mind prefers images that can be handled. Textures give the attention restful work. When worry intrudes, name it with a single short word. Do not inflate the story around it. Say the word once. Place it on the bedside table in the imagination. Take a breath. The act of naming keeps the thought from becoming a storm. It makes it a thing to be noticed. Then set aside. Hope often needs a small witness. Tell a single person, in a short note or a quiet call, one modest hope for tomorrow. The witness is not obligation. It is a gentle accountability. It teaches the nervous system that hope is not a foolish loneliness, but a thing shared and guarded. A brief, plain prayer may be offered now. Ask for joy to be present in a small way. Ask for peace to keep the chest calm. Invite the Spirit to make hope rise in small measures. Keep the words short. Let them be more like a hand placed on the heart than a long speech. Avoid demanding answers tonight. Hope does not require full understanding. It asks only for a small willingness to look toward a softer morning. Trust that small things matter. A single lifted corner of the mouth, a single deepened breath, a single small kindness received. Let those be measured as progress. If rest comes, allow it without guilt. Sleep is a part of hope's work. The body and heart sort and tidy while the mind rests. If sleep resists, keep the simple practices close. Breathe in 3 counts. Breathe out 4. Repeat. Let the small rhythms steady the night. I close this part with a short invitation. Place the hand where it rests best. Breathe slowly 3 times. Picture a quiet cup filling, not to the brim, but enough to take 1 sip. Hope is that sip. Let it be small, steady, and available. When morning arrives, even a small light matters. Before moving on, I say 1 short blessing aloud. May a gentle hope rise in the chest. May joy and peace sit quietly beside sorrow. May a patient spirit pour a steady current through the night. Rest now. Keep the bedside object within reach. I will read again when you are ready, and we will carry this small hope into the next hours. I open the book and let my thumb mark the page. The lamp keeps its soft circle. The room breathes with the sound of slow things. Tonight I speak of a love that does not loosen its hold. I do not speak in loud sermons. I speak quietly, like someone leaning in to whisper a steady fact. I think of a promise that reaches across every storm. It says nothing that frightens can push the hand away. It says no shadow can slip between the heart and the one who loves. I do not argue. I offer the image and let it rest where the ear can take it in. Imagine now a sea. Waves rise and fall. The sky sometimes thins into thunder. A small boat rides the water. A rope ties the boat to a harbor post. The rope is not flashy. It does not claim to be unbreakable. The rope is strong in the ways that matter. It holds when the wind tries to take the craft. That rope is the picture I bring for you tonight. Love is the rope. It holds. I read the Bible beside you, the way a friend reads a map. I paraphrase the lines so they are easy on the ear. The passage I hold tonight says that nothing in the wide world can put distance between us and love. It names fear, power, and even the long quiet of death. It includes every harsh thing our minds imagine. The message is not a theory. It is offered as a sheltering fact for the night. There is a small practice I want to share. Place 1 hand on the chest, if that feels safe. Put the other on the belly or the blanket. Breathe in slow counts. Breathe out longer. Imagine each out-breath as a small lowering of a knot. With each breath, imagine a thin thread of light tying you to the harbor post. The light does not shout. It simply holds. Do this for 5 gentle cycles. Keep sentences in the mind short. Keep the breathing steady. I tell a short story to help the image settle. A person I know walked through a long month of fear. Night arrived heavy and loud. The person learned to come to a small window each evening. A lamp was lit. The hand rested on the sill. The thought repeated in the mind was not a loud declaration. It was a simple phrase you are held. The repetition changed the shape of the night. The fear did not vanish, but it stopped ruling the body. The hand on the sill was the rope in action. Love that does not let go is not distant sentiment. It is presence that stays while the hands shake. It looks like a neighbor bringing soup. It looks like a quiet phone call where only breathing is shared. It looks like a hand steadying a cup. The book of Scripture names this practical steadiness. It is not airy. It is work done with softness. Make another small image with me. Picture a lantern on a pier. The lantern does not throw a city of light. It gives a small lane across the water. The lane is enough to find a way back. Walk the lane in the mind. Feel the boards underfoot. Notice the sound of the tide come and go. The lantern is the presence that keeps watch. The tide is the life that moves around us. Both are real. If doubts come, do not be harsh with them. Doubt often arrives like a cold breath. Name it in one word and breathe toward it. Give it a cup of attention. Then set it on the table beside the lamp. The act of naming and placing makes a small distance. It does not banish the thought. It makes it a thing that can be observed rather than swallowed. I read a simple line now in plain words. It says nothing that exists can finally separate the heart from a love that chose the heart long ago. Say that quietly once. Let it land like a soft stone. Say it again with the exhale if it helps. The repetition is not ritual for show. It trains the nervous system to remember steady facts. Forgiveness appears here as part of the holding, when a wound feels fresh. The love that does not let go approaches not to erase, but to tend. Imagine fingers carefully closing a seam. Each stitch is small. Each stitch is patient. The mending respects what was torn. It does not pretend the fabric never bore the cut. The seam becomes a witness, not a disguise. There is a prayer I offer in the low voice. I say it now in the quiet of the room. I breathe the words slowly. I ask for the sense of being held to be felt as warmth, not as an idea. I ask for the courage to rest in that reality. I do not demand a sudden change. I ask only that the night bring enough gentleness to steady the breath. Sometimes the thought arises that needing help is shameful. The world often whispers that independence is the measure of worth. Scripture gently undoes that whisper. The picture it gives is of a hand joining another. The joining does not lower value. It shifts weight. The action is honest and practical. Receiving help is an act of realism and grace. I offer a small exercise for those nights when fear is loud. Sit or lie with support. Close the eyes if that is safe. Place one palm lightly on the sternum. Breathe in for 3 counts. Breathe out for 5. On each inhale, imagine a thin, steady light coming from above and passing through the chest. On each exhale, imagine that light anchoring at the feet. like the end of a rope tied to the ground. Do this for 5 slow cycles. Allow the image to steady the pulse. The love that cannot be separated from the heart is also a companion for grief. Grief sometimes feels endless. The assurance here is not that grief will vanish overnight. The assurance is that grief will be accompanied. Imagine a blanket folded across the lap. It does not take away the cold. It keeps company. The presence beside the grief is that blanket. I remind you that small practices matter. Keep a stone or a ribbon near the bedside. Place a single worry upon it tonight. Put the item there as a small offering. The object does not make the problem vanish. It becomes a witness that something has been handed over, even if temporarily. The act changes the body more than the mind at first. If sleep comes easily tonight, welcome it with no guilt. If it does not, remain gentle. Keep the breathing steady. Keep the hand on the chest. Let the phrase "you are held" sit on the tongue like a small private promise. You do not have to believe everything at once. Let the phrase be a rope you can reach for. I speak of storms. They are real and sometimes loud. Storms include the loss, rejection, illness, and lonely nights. The claim I read tonight holds them all. Nothing in the storm can finally separate the heart from the steady love that chooses to stay. That claim is not a neat fix. It is a kind of anchor. Finish a brief practice with me now. Imagine the rope from the harbor post tied round the waist. Feel its weight. Take 3 slow steps in the mind. Each step is a breathing out. With each exhale, imagine tension lowering a fraction. Do not rush the steps. Do them slowly. Let the anchor do its job. I leave a blessing in a low voice. May the truth of unending love rest in the chest, like a warm object. May doubts be named and placed gently beside the lamp. May mercy meet what is raw without hurry. Keep the hand where it steadies. Rest, knowing the rope holds. In the next part, I will speak of hope that anchors the night. I will read a few short prayers and guide a practice for holding this love through the hours. When you are ready, breathe slowly, and I will turn the page and continue. I close the book gently and let the lamp make a small circle of light. The room hums with low sounds. My voice stays calm and near. Tonight, I bring a single, quiet invitation from a psalm. The words are simple in meaning. Be still, and know that the one who holds you is present. I say this not as a demand. I offer it as a doorway. Be still. The phrase is short. It is soft. It asks nothing of you except a small surrender to quiet. Stillness is not empty. It is a place where breath becomes the measure of truth. It is a room where a gentle whisper can be heard because other voices are hushed. Find a comfortable place. Lie down if that feels safe. Sit if that is better. Make a small adjustment. Let the weight of the body meet the surface beneath it. If a blanket brings warmth, draw it close. If the hand resting on the chest helps, place it there. Do not strive to stop thoughts. Let them come. Let them go. Stillness is a way of watching without agitation. I ask the ear to quiet, not the mind. Listen for small things first. the soft tick of a clock, the distant car, the breath moving in, the breath moving out. Notice the feet against the bed. Notice the small rise at the center of the chest. These are plain facts. They are safe facts. Hold one of them like a pebble in the hand of thought. Breathe with me. Inhale slowly. Count gently to 3. Hold for a quiet beat. Exhale slowly to the count of 4. Let the exhale be longer than the inhale. Repeat. Each cycle is a small practice of being present. Do this for 5 rounds. The rhythm does not perform, it settles. As breathing steadies, imagine a soft landscape of light, a low field at dawn, dew on the grass. The light is not bright. It is patient. It keeps to the horizon. The hush of that scene matches the hush inside the chest. You do not have to go anywhere. The field is here. The breath is the path across it. Now let a short phrase settle softly into the mind. Say it inwardly. With no rush, be still. Say it on the inhale. Let it rest on the exhale. The words are not a test. They become a small rope that steadies the heart. No need to repeat them loudly. They work best as an unfussy line. Simple and steady. Stillness has edges. Thoughts will press against them. As wind presses at a window, notice when agitation rises. Name it in the mind with one brief word. Worry. Tired. Tight. Lonely. Place that name gently on the bedside table of the mind. Do not follow it. Do not press it away. Set it down. The act of naming moves energy. It keeps the thought from dragging the whole night after it. In this hush, you may sense a very slight whisper. It is not loud. It does not argue. It says a few plain things. You are known. You are not alone. You are held. Receive these phrases as water receives a dry leaf. The leaf remains what it is. The water simply touches it and carries some of the weight away. There is no need for grand belief. The whisper is a quiet fact to rest against. I offer another small practice for the body. Tighten the hands for a moment. Hold. Then let go. Feel how the muscles soften. Wiggle the fingers. Draw a slow circle with the shoulders. Let the jaw relax. These small actions teach the nervous system that release is possible. Stillness is not rigid. It is a living calm. Sit in silence for 30 slow counts if that feels safe. If silence is a raw place, shorten the time. The purpose is presence, not a trial. During the silence, allow attention to land on the chest. Feel the breath like a tide, coming in and going out. If prayer rises, say it quietly. If tears come, let them. If sleep arrives, welcome it. Each response is a valid way to be still. When stillness deepens, imagine a very small lamp inside the chest. It is dim. It is warm. It does not shine to alter the whole room. It makes a safe place at the center. Let that lamp hold whatever is fragile. Picture a small hand placing a cloth over what is raw. The cloth is not a fix. It is a careful shelter. If fear appears in the night, bring attention to the sensations it makes. Where does the throat tighten? Where do the shoulders clench? Breathe into those places as if sending a cool hand to loosen a knot. On each out-breath, Imagine the knot yielding a fraction. Progress may be tiny. The tiniest easing counts. Stillness is also a practice of listening. After a short inward phrase, wait in the quiet for a moment. Do not rush to shape what comes. Sometimes an answer arrives as a slow thought. Sometimes an image passes by. More often, the simple settling itself is the answer. The arrival of a calmer breath is a small proof. There is a gentle work of trust here. To be still is to allow help to come nearer than frantic striving permits. It does not mean that everything is suddenly right. It means that the heart opens a little. Enough to let mercy enter without hitting the floor running. Think of help as a soft stool. Sit down. Feel the seat under you. It holds. Make a small ritual if that brings comfort. Keep a small stone on the bedside. Tonight, as you come to stillness, hold the stone for a moment. Feel its weight. Lay it down by the lamp. The stone is a witness. It marks the choice to pause. The repetition trains the hands to lay things down. Even if just for the night, if the middle of the night wakes you, return to stillness with a short, steady practice. Sit up slowly if that helps. Breathe. 3 even cycles. Place the palm to the sternum if that feels grounding. Repeat the inward phrase. Be still. Allow the breath to lengthen. Do not force sleep. Let calm do its work in increments. A few moments of stillness can carry the night forward. Tonight, I hold Psalm 46 10 inches that gentle way. I do not make the line into a test. I wear it like a shawl. Be still, and know that I am God. The knowing is not intellectual. It is a felt reality you may touch with a slow breath. It says that even when the mind races or the body aches, a steady presence is near. Let that presence be a quiet hand on the shoulder. I also remind you that stillness is practiced more than achieved. The first attempts may wobble. Later times will be softer. Come back. The porch light does not vanish between visits. The lamp waits. The book stays on the table. I keep reading for you each night. My voice will remain a low companion as you learn the shape of stillness. Now a brief, spare prayer in the hush. I speak it, and then I let silence answer. Ask for the courage to be still. Ask for the tenderness to receive the quiet. Ask for mercy that comes without fanfare. Keep the words short and true. Let them be a soft rope from your chest to the low lamp on the bedside. Rest in the quiet for a while. Let the breathing and the small images do their work. If sleep comes, it is welcome. If wakefulness remains, remain kind to it. The night is large enough for both. Be gentle with your heart. Be still. Know the gentle presence near enough to be felt. Breathe. Stay with the quiet until the next page turns. When you are ready, I will read again. The next part will offer short prayers and a practice for holding this stillness through the hours. For now, let the hush be deep. Let the lamp be small. Let the whisper rest like a hand. Be still and feel the quiet hold you. I open the book and let my thumb find the crease. The lamp makes a small pool of light. The room breathes around it. I read softly, not as a test but as a map for this night. The idea I bring is simple learn to trust. Build a foundation that can hold when storms come. The proverb I hold tonight urges trust. It asks that the heart not lean only on its own thoughts. It invites a simple act place, worries into steady hands, and follow the guidance that appears. Picture that command not as a demand, but as a gentle instruction. It teaches a practice more than it proves a conclusion. Trust begins on small ground. It starts with one small letting go. Imagine standing by a low wall. The pack is heavy. You set one item on the wall and breathe. The shoulder eases. That single act is trust taking its first step. It is not dramatic. It is honest and practical. I guide a small practice now. Gather a pebble in the mind. Name one worry with one short word. Hold the pebble and feel its weight. Walk to a table in the imagination. Put the pebble down. Breathe slowly. Picture hands soft and sure, lifting the pebble and holding it for a moment. Hands do not pry the worry away. They take its weight. That transfer is the beginning of a foundation. A foundation is not visible at first. It lies beneath the house. It works by patience. Trust builds the same way. Night after night, small acts of handing over create a base of experience. One night of laying down is not enough. Repetition makes the bedrock. Repeat the pebble practice across evenings. The hand that holds the pebble becomes familiar. The mind learns the way of letting go. Trust also grows out of memory. Remember one small mercy from the past. It might be a neighbor who warmed a meal, a friend who called, a morning that arrived softer than feared. Gather such moments quietly. Keep them like smooth stones in a pocket. When a new fear presses, reach for one of those stones. Let the memory be proof that care has come before. Proof is simple. It steadies. The proverbs invite another posture. They suggest acknowledging the gentle guide in all ways. That means inviting that presence into small decisions. Not every choice needs a sign from the sky, but the habit of pausing and asking for guidance trains the will. A tiny pause before a difficult call. A short breath before a decision. A soft thought show me the next safe step. These little habits become the mortar between the stones of trust. Trust and humility walk together. The heart that admits not knowing learns to reach. Saying I do not know opens hands that otherwise grip tight. Humility does not diminish worth. It frees the chest. The body learns to relax when a heavier shoulder is shared. Doubt visits sometimes. Doubt is not failure. It is part of the path. When it arrives, name it with one short word. Place it gently on the bedside table in the imagination. Give it a cup of attention, and then close the lid. The naming makes doubt a thing to observe rather than a storm to be swallowed. Return to the pebble practice. Let the habit override panic. Another practice helps for decision nights. Make a simple list of 3 small things you already know. Names of people who cared. One meal that comforted. A morning that arrived. These items are anchors. Read them slowly. Let each one sink with the breath. These anchors ease the nervous system. They remind the hands that they have been steadied before. There is also a kindly work in small outward acts. Trust deepens when it is practiced in doing. Offer one small kindness tomorrow, a brief note, a cup of tea, a clipped voice message that says nothing long, only that someone is remembered. Acts of giving train the heart to believe that the world holds tender threads. They shift the mind from guarding to sharing. Guidance often appears as a soft direction. It may be a clear next step, or simply a removed obstacle. It rarely appears as a thunderclap. Expect the gentle nudge, a path that opens a little wider, a neighbor who steps forward, a sleep that comes easier. Train the eyes to notice these small openings. Notice them and say thanks in a low voice. Gratitude becomes a brick in the foundation. Trust needs boundaries too. Learning to trust does not mean handing everything to anyone. It means choosing wisely who holds what. Imagine a rope tied between hands. One hand is yours. One hand is a steady presence. Each keeps a part of the load. The rope is strong because both hands watch it. Set limits where safety demands. Trust does not abolish prudence. It opens room for wise receiving. I offer a breathing practice to steady the work of trust. Breathe in for 3 counts. Hold 1 soft beat. Breathe out for 5 counts. On the in-breath, imagine placing a small worry into cupped hands. On the out-breath, imagine the hands steadying the weight. Repeat 5 cycles. Keep the words inside short I place. I rest. Let the breath be the bridge between giving and receiving. Community helps the foundation set. Trust often comes through repeated small proofs offered by others. Regular check-ins. A predictable call at the same hour. Meals left at the door. Greet presents. These are mortar. They keep the stones from shifting. When the world feels unsure, let a routine of small, steady contacts be the network that holds. Part of building trust is learning to accept help. Acceptance is a practice. The hand that receives does not take shame. It takes realism. Picture placing a bundle on a neighbor's porch and stepping back. The neighbor carries it inside. The act is practical. It frees the shoulders. Repeat this in small ways. Each acceptance deepens the foundation. Sometimes trust looks like patience. It is not an instant leap. It is the slow tiling of days. Expect fits and starts. Expect evenings when the old fear tightens. Return to the pebble. Return to naming one small mercy. Let patience be a habit. Patient trust is patient work. It is discipline, not denial. There is a particular practice for nights when decisions loom heavy. Take a sheet of paper. Write 3 words about what feels urgent. Fold the paper and place it on the bedside. Say one brief sentence. I hand this over for the night. Put the paper into a drawer, if that feels right. The physical action helps the mind trust that the worry has a place to rest. In the morning, the paper can be opened and looked at again with clearer eyes. Trust is also a posture of walking slowly. Imagine a path lit by small lanterns. Walk one lantern to the next. Each lantern marks a small choice, kept intentionally, one step at a time. The guide promises to make the path known as it is needed. The promise does not erase the unknown. It reduces it to a manageable distance. Trust the lantern light, not an imagined flood of certainty. I speak plainly about fear of being led wrongly. That worry is fair. Guidance may still be slow or confusing. The practice is to follow the small directions that align with goodness and prudence. If the way asks for harm or confusion, pause. Trust grows when the heart tests guidance against simple moral touchstones, kindness, honesty, courage. These simple tests help the path remain safe. At the center of tonight's practice is a final small exercise. Lie down or sit with support. Place one hand lightly on the chest. Hold the other open palm outward. Close the eyes if it feels safe. Breathe in for 3. Breathe out for 5. On the in-breath, imagine placing one worry into the open palm. On the out-breath, imagine that palm lifted and set into steadier hands. Repeat for 5 cycles. Let each transfer be small and sure. I close this section with a quiet blessing. May a steady hand feel nearer than the tightness. May small acts of letting go become familiar. May the memory of past mercies build a foundation that holds tomorrow. Keep the pebble, if it helps, on the bedside. Bring it back when the night asks for practice again. When the breath has settled and the hands feel lighter by even a fraction, I will turn the page. The next part will be short prayers and a simple practice for trusting through the dark hours. Rest now with the thought that trust is built, not conjured. Take one slow breath and let it carry the weight a little further tonight. I close the book with a slow breath. I place my hand on the page for a moment and let the light fall where it will. Tonight I offer a benediction. I speak it like a quiet roof drawn over a small house. I do not say many words. I let the meaning rest like a warm blanket. Hear this in the ear. Not like an argument, but like a gentle fact. I speak the blessing as an action. I invite it to cover you. I mean every short sentence simply. May you be blessed and kept. May a careful kindness watch over you while you sleep. Picture that kindness as a soft hand that steadies the head. It does not hurry. It stays. May a gentle light rest on your face. The light is not harsh. It is a low lamp by the bedside. It finds the eyes and warms the skin. It does not remove the shadows that belong to your story. It only makes those shadows less sharp. It leans in, like a neighbor who sits and does not speak much, simply present. May grace meet you in 1,000 small ways. Grace comes as a bowl of warm soup on a cold night. It comes as a message that says, I saw you today. It comes as mercy that answers without questions. Let those small things gather in the chest like soft pebbles at the bottom of a stream. They will keep the feet from slipping. May a face of quiet favor turn toward you. Imagine someone who cares lowering a chair beside your bed. Their face is close, but not demanding. They look upon you with a tenderness that keeps no score. That look is enough to steady one breath. Allow that look to be true for this night. May peace be yours in the deep hours. Not a pressure to feel brave, not a demand to fix what is broken. A peace that feels like an even tide moving through the ribs. It steadies the heart's drum. It loosens the small tight places one by one. Let the peace be a slow work. Receive it as a small, steady gift. I speak slowly now. Breathe with me for a few soft counts. Inhale for 3. Hold 1. Exhale for 5. Each out-breath lets the blessing settle a little more. Do this in silence. Let the words of the benediction move with the breath. No need to force feeling. Let the breath do the receiving. Place a hand where it rests best if that helps. A palm on the sternum is a gentle witness to the work happening inside. Keep the other hand open, or lie with it loose at the side. The physical touch is a small ceremony. It tells the body that something is being done on its behalf. If you like, imagine the words as a shawl. The shawl is soft and unassuming. It drapes over the shoulders of the night. It does not change the weather outside. It only warms what it covers. Feel the shawl at the back of the neck. Feel it at the collarbone. The shawl does not force anything. It keeps you. Now picture a short scene near the lamp. A small table. A cup of something warm. A folded note. The note reads like a blessing written in the hand of someone who knows you. You do not need to read it all. Let the idea of being named and held be enough. This small domestic image holds a larger truth. Ordinary things are often how mercy moves. I will say a brief prayer in simple words. You may hold these words in your mind or let them pass through like a sound from a distant room. I ask that you be watched with kindness tonight. I ask that what is raw be met with gentle hands. I ask that small mercies come often and without fuss. I ask that sleep, when it comes, be close and easy. Amen. Though you need not speak the word aloud, keep it inward, like a small stone in the pocket. If sorrow wakes in the night, meet it with the same soft frame. Do not chase the feeling. Let it name itself. Give it a seat at the table in the imagination for a moment. Offer it a cup of warm thought, and then, when you are ready, let it sit. The benediction does not deny sorrow. It steadies the space where sorrow sits. If fear presses at the throat, breathe toward the place that tightens. Send a slow out-breath to the worry, and imagine the blessing as a hand that takes part of the weight. The load will not vanish at once. It will be shared. The act of sharing lightens the shoulders by degrees. That is enough for one night. I remind you that this blessing is not an abstract hope. It is meant for the body. Let the words sink where muscles hold. Let them find the jaw and the shoulders. Let them be felt in the palms and in the soles of the feet. When the body loosens, the mind follows. When the mind softens, the heart quiets. The circle closes gently. Keep a small object by the bedside if you find it helpful. A pebble, a ribbon, a scrap of cloth. When the benediction is spoken, rest your hand on that object. Let it be a witness to what you have just received. The object does not make the blessing truer. It only helps the body remember the act of receiving. Habit trains the nervous system. I will speak the blessing again, slowly, so the lines can roll like soft water. Say them in the mind if you prefer. Be blessed and kept. Have your face warmed by a gracious light. Be favored and given peace. Let each short line be an act that rests over the chest. Repeat them quietly as you breathe. Do not rush. Let the words come and go like a tide of small comfort. Tonight, keep the lamp low. Keep the room uncluttered of demands. Allow the benediction to be the final thing you take in before sleep. Let it be like a door closed gently at the end of a long day. The door does not hide the work left undone. It simply makes a place to rest. I sit beside this lamp and promise to keep the voice slow and steady. I will not hurry you. I will not rush the silence. If you drift in and out, that is welcome. This reading is a harbor for drifting minds. The benediction is both the anchor and the rope that will be there when you need to return. For a final small practice, breathe in slowly and, on the out-breath, imagine the words resting on your shoulders. Blessed, kept, favored, peace. Let each word fall like a feather. Let the feathers gather and make a small nest in the chest. The nest does not fix all things tonight. It only provides a soft place to land. If you wake in the night, come back to the lamp in the mind. Reach for the small object by the bedside. Repeat the words. Let the breath be the instrument that carries the blessing back into the body. The work is patient and gentle. It does not demand quick proof. I close this benediction with another short prayer. Spoken slowly. May kindness watch you. May light find the face that needs it. May mercy be near without hurry. May peace hold you through the night. Stay with the breathing now. Keep the hand where it comforts. Let the lamp be small and steady. Rest in the blessing you have received. When you are ready, I will read the last part by the same lamp. I will gather the reflections and hold them in a few soft sentences. For now, let the benediction settle like a warm embrace. Allow it to be what it is, a simple, sure keeping for the night. I lower the lamp a fraction and let the room breathe. I fold the book closed with care. My thumb rests on the cover for a moment. Tonight I gather the small threads we have been weaving together. I do not try to fix anything in grand strokes. I simply name what has been here. Tenderness, mercy, a steady near hand, small practices, sweet prayers, gentle habits. Each one has been a stitch. Together they form a cloth that can be carried into the night. Picture that cloth with me. It is not a fancy quilt. It is a patchwork of ordinary things. Warm soup on a cold evening. A short message that says, I thought of you. A hand that steadies a cup. Each patch is a small mercy. The seam that holds them is a practice repeated. Lay your fingers on that imagined cloth. Feel its warmth. Let it remind you of the way little things gather into care. I breathe with you slowly. Inhale for 3 counts. Hold 1 soft beat. Exhale for 4. Let each out-breath lower, a fraction of the weight you carry. If your shoulders lift, invite them to drop. If your jaw tightens, let it soften by a whisper. The breath is a quiet instrument. It asks nothing dramatic. It only offers a steady rhythm. Remember the porch where we sat, the lamp that never rushed, the chair that waited. Those images are not instructions to perform. They are places to return to when the heart grows loud. Imagine stepping back to that porch. Set the pack down for a spell. The world does not demand you carry it all tonight. I will say again what I have meant every night. Rest is not earned by proving your worth. It is given It arrives as a small fact. You are allowed to receive. Place a palm on your chest if that feels safe. Notice the rise and fall. Let the hand be a witness. The body accepts a simple holding more easily than the mind does. Let the body accept this one. If forgiveness is still hard, hold it gently. Let the idea of letting go be small. You do not have to forget. You need only set one pebble down. Place it on the table. Walk away. That single act is practice. Return to it again. The practice is the repair. If hope feels thin, tend it like a seed. Keep it out of direct wind. Give it a small corner of soil and a little water. Notice even the smallest green edge. Hope does not always shout. It often grows in quiet increments. A single small rise of color is enough to steady a day. If fear presses, do not try to banish it. Name it and place it in a bowl at the bedside of the mind. Watch it rather than being carried by it. When fear is named, it changes shape. It becomes a thing you can hold and hand over again. The act of naming is a gentle, practical move. Community matters. Healing rarely arrives alone. It moves through others who bring ordinary things and leave them in the neighbor's hand. A routine call, a steady text, a visit without pressure. If you can, let one small kindness in today be an offering you accept. Practicing receiving is part of the work of being held. I offer a final short practice now. Close your eyes if that feels safe. Place one hand over the sternum. Place the other hand open at your side or on your lap. Breathe in slowly. Count to 3. Hold 1 beat. Breathe out to 5. On the in-breath, imagine a thin thread of light descending and settling into your chest like a warm cloth. On the out-breath, imagine that cloth smoothing the edges of a knot. Repeat this for 5 gentle cycles. No need for drama. Let each cycle be small and kind. Keep a simple object by your bed, if it helps. A pebble, a ribbon, a scrap of cloth. Tonight, place the object in your hand for a moment. Let it be a witness to what you are trying. When the night wakes you, reach for that object and rest your palm on it. The object remembers the choice you made to receive care. Small reminders train the body to trust. I read the Bible for you because I want to offer a voice that steadies the night. I do not present answers that complicate. I bring images that soften. I paraphrase passages so they can sit lightly in the ear. The words we have shared are meant to be lived in small habits, not debated in long arguments. Let them be tools for sleep and for slow mornings. If grief returns, welcome it like weather. Do not force a festival inside. Weather the storm with a hand on the shoulder and a slow breath. When the rain fades, notice the clean air. Small relief can be enough. Let tenderness be the umbrella that does not pretend the storm did not come. I will say a brief invitation now. If this hour has rested you, consider returning. Subscribe if you wish to keep this lamp by your bedside in the coming nights. Leave a small comment if one of these practices has helped. Join others who come here for the same steady quiet. The invitation is not a demand. It is simply a doorway. Use it if it serves you. There is no rush to do anything else tonight. Do not press yourself to tidy the whole life. Take care only of the next small step, a glass of water, a warm blanket, a written note laid beside the lamp. Keep the list tiny. Completion of one small task is restoration. I place a short prayer now into the quiet. The words are bare and slow. May you be held in gentleness. May mercy meet the raw places without hurry. May a patient hope gather in the chest like a small, steady flame. May sleep come with kindness. May morning bring one small ease. Amen. Keep the word inside if you prefer. Let the silence answer. When sleep comes, welcome it without guilt. Sleep is work. It repairs in ways words cannot track. If wakefulness stays, remain kind. Use the breath. Return to the object on the bedside. Repeat a short phrase you find comforting. Let the practice be an act of care, not a test. I lean close in this last moment and offer a blessing in the softest voice I have kept for you all along. May you be blessed and kept. May a gentle light rest on your face. May grace meet you in thousands of small ways. May peace be yours in the long hours. May you know, before the night closes, that you are cherished and known by God. As you drift into sleep, remember, you are cherished and known by God. If this hour has held you, share the peace quietly. Subscribe, comment, or join others who come here to learn small habits of care. Doing so helps this place stay lit for someone else tomorrow. I close the lamp slowly. The book is tucked within reach. My voice goes low and still. Keep the hand where it steadies. Breathe once more. Let the breath be slow. Rest now. Good night.